Hello! How's everybody doing? Let's get Emacs open. How is everybody doing? We are live. First of all, let's make an announcement. Live. We are live on twitch.tv right now. And this is going to be compiler. It's just more compiler. More compiler. Part 7. Make sure to @ everybody who wants notifications and ping them. And that is a good message. Alrighty. We are officially live. Woohoo. I wonder what that is. Thank you, everybody. If you don't already know, there's a link down below. And you can check out the Discord, join, and we all can talk, have fun. You get announcements every time I go live. It's a lot of fun. We make each other laugh. Alrighty. We have just begun. Welcome, everybody. Can do a little welcome. Look at us. Landar is here again. How are you doing? Thank you so much. You were here right away yesterday, too. Gonna have to make you a VIP if we unlock that soon, once we get to 50 followers. Hey, Good Mallard is here as well. That's awesome. How's it going, Good Mallard? Decent duck. How are your days going? And Sim on the Swede. We get a heart from Sim on the Swede. A love sign. How sweet. Oh, Tina Angel. You're back. How's it going, Angel? I still don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Hey. Landar says, sorry I had to go early last time. Everything's okay now. You don't need to feel the need to apologize. There was no hard feelings at all, my guy. I appreciate you coming at all. It's the fact that you stayed and felt bad for leaving. It's really cool, but you don't have to feel bad. It's all good. The VODs are available for you. I upload them to YouTube, so if you feel like you missed out, you can watch them. It's all good. I'm just happy you're still good and everything is okay. Angel says, yeah, I'm back. Back and in action. Okay, I need to figure out what to do. Let's get the language server loading. Let's get org mode loaded. What else? Snippets. It's going to take a while to load. Org mode takes the longest just because I have so much custom functionality set up. And then snippets. Alright, I think that's all the loading we have to do. This is also a good time to look at what we have to do. We are still parsing, top level. We've done lexing, and now we're parsing into an AST. Today, we're going to explore conceptually how to actually compile our generated AST into assembly, and we may even write some code. But I don't want to make any promises. We may not get into Codegen today, but we're definitely going to think about it. Awesome. Oh yeah, and if anybody prefers, we can start learning Algol 68 today. The the language in which the language C is based on was based on. Because Algol 68 or Algol 60 really inspired BCPL, and then BCPL inspired C. Because Dennis Ritchie worked on BCPL for a while. Okay, high level, yep, we parse. How is everybody doing? Everybody says they're doing good. That's awesome. We should just get started then. Oops, sorry, little little black flash there while I switched screen modes. Gotta figure out if I can fix that. Also, this is bothering me. So, effectively, if we're at the end of the string break, we can just remove this printf. We don't really need it. That was just testing our file loading. So effectively, we ensure that we have an argument other than just the binary. We load that argument. Also, do I really need to do this? Do I use path elsewhere? I don't use path elsewhere. I don't know why I did that. Just created a useless variable. Anyways, we fixed it now. So then we get contents. If contents, we don't really want to separate those two. So if contents. Okay, I definitely did all that. So this to-do is done. This is a lot of cleanup. This is good. So we create a parsing context. We may want to do this like within a generated parser structure. Like we create a parser and then keep parsing expressions through that, but I don't think we need to do that right now. That's a little too object-oriented in C for me, for my liking. Landor says, variables with no use can exist if you want it to be easy for people to modify your code and build onto it. It's true, sometimes there's the case where, like, making things inline is not better. But I think this contents doesn't matter. Because with this, it kind of is obvious, like, okay, you need to provide at least one extra argument. And then with this, it's like, okay, and that one extra argument is the file. You're getting that file contents of that argument. I think it's self-explanatory, readability-wise, that this would be a file path. And if I did use it, like, even in one other place, even in a printf that was commented out, I probably would have kept it, but I didn't. It was like, eh. And I probably just deleted the printf that was commented out, so that's funny. Oh, Tree Mosher. He says, hey there, Chief. How's it going, boss? What's going on? How are you doing today? I am, I know you didn't ask, but I am doing okay. I just woke up, and I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling excited. Is everybody excited, chat? I want you all to be excited. Why is there a new line here? Tree Mosher says, oh good, same here. That's awesome. Booyah. Just two people that are excited together. Landar says, we might not ask, but we always care. Oh, thank you so much, Landar. You're so sweet. Tree Mosher woke up 10 minutes before my alarm and actually felt well slept. Hey, that's Pog. That's like, you beat the day already. You're like, yeah, I won for today. So now we do a lot of preparation of parsing. We don't need to do this. That's what node allocate does. That's pretty simple. Tree Mosher asks, you eat breakfast? And then asks, how you doing, Landar? Nice. I don't eat breakfast, if you're talking to me instead of Landar, for that one. I'm never hungry in the morning, and I used to have a problem in my teens where I would throw up in the mornings, and like no doctors could figure out why. It was wonderful. And it was rough, you know? So I just never ate breakfast. It was more like, oh, I feel so sick every morning. All I want to do is curl up in bed. And then I I would eventually have to get up and get ready for like wherever I have to go that morning or whatever I have to do. I'd be like, okay, time to go. And eating just never crossed my mind until lunchtime. And then I was like, oh man, I'm starving. And then I would eat as much lunch as I could. I would steal everybody's food. Are you gonna eat that? Can I have it? And then I'd do the same thing at home. I'd just look for all the food. Eat 8 ramen packets a day type of thing. Landar says, pretty good, barely slept though. That can be rough. Sleeping can greatly help reduce stress. Because you just forget about the previous day. It's like, it didn't happen. It's a new day. Which is what people that try out like different sleeping patterns complain about. They say like, I don't have separated days anymore. Which is a big deal. Alright, so we are working on our compiler that compiles this language, or should compile this language. And ideally, we should catch this as a variable redefinition error. But I think we're being silly in our parser. Angel says, finally you regulated the code. Everything was inside main.c before. Yeah, we did a restructuring. I think 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I don't even know at this point, to be honest. Good Mallard asks, what language does it compile? This one, we made it up. At the for the first 15 minutes of the first stream, if you check out the Making a Compiler like series, I think the VODs are still on Twitch and they're up on YouTube. You can see the first 15 minutes, I kind of just go, I guess I gotta make a language to compile. So I have to come up with like source code. And this is what I came up with. So basically, semicolon is the comment character, but so is hash. So it's kind of like Python and Lisp in that sense. Here is a variable declaration right here. So this declares the variable a on the global level to be an integer, and it's assigned to 69. This would reassign a to 420. Good Mallard says, that's cool, thank you. Thank you. All right, I gotta do that. Landar says, earlier you said you would make me a VIP when you can. I think your first 50 followers should all get VIP. That's a good idea. Because everybody's part of the group, baby. Good Mallard says, then VIP kind of loses its value. It's true, it would be like a lot of the people showing up would have VIP. I do kind of want to reserve VIP for Landar because he shows up at the very beginning of 2 streams in a row. Like, that's pretty insane to me. Like, thank you. I really appreciate it. And so today, we also had Tree Mosher and Good Mallard. Good Mallard was in yesterday's stream too. But you're right, there has to be a balance between the value of the VIP, how rare it is. Because I don't want to just give it to like people who don't really aren't going to stick around, right? Just have like latent VIPs. Moralilu, what's up? Showing up at the beginning of streams is for nerds. Good thing we're all nerds here. At least I am. I don't want to speak for all of you, but I'm definitely a giant nerd. Landar says, at least make a note of the followers who helped you get to affiliate somewhere. Oh, for sure, my guy. I have a plan. A little bit of a plan when I get to affiliate to make a little, have a little short celebration live stream, like 30 minutes. Tree Mosher Says, you can give the ones who show up but don't stick around a VIM badge. Stupid joke. It was pretty good. I laughed. I laughed, Tree Musher. Lol. Oh. But yeah, Landar, I definitely have a plan when I get to affiliate to show off very important member. Oh, I've got a very important member. If you know what I mean. I'm sorry. Oh god. Uki. Okay. That's a good idea. I like very important member. We're being silly in our parsing, I believe. Thank you everyone for being so positive this morning, putting a smile on my face. Okay, so we still have this to do. I'm gonna keep that separated. I still laugh a little when you got suspicious of me asking if this was Vim. I'm suspicious of everybody. But you're right. Like, I press too many buttons for this to be Vim. No, I don't know. So yeah, I think we're being silly. So yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just I'll try and think of what I'm thinking out loud. So the idea is the code generator needs, like we were saying here, a codegen context. And let's think about why this is necessary and not something I'm just needlessly complicating. Let's think about this. Unless you guys can simplify it, in which case, then I'm needlessly complicating it. But a codegen context must contain, for example, in x86-64 assembly, if you don't mind one little question, can I have Emacs extend across 3 monitors as one interface? You're gonna have trouble. I googled this, but I think I was phrasing the question poorly. I don't think you can have one Emacs spanning 3 monitors in full screen mode like I have here, if you're on Windows. Because full screen is like a display mode for applications that they have to request to enter on Windows. If that makes sense. So the application, when it goes full screen, fills up an entire monitor, and the OS handles that. I mean like one buffer on each monitor. Oh, then yes, you're totally good with one buffer on each monitor. So I can press, I think it's Control X5. Yeah. So if you look at the bottom, I don't know if you can read this, but we have stuff like make frame, delete frame, clone frame, and frames in Emacs refer to like windows in an OS. So if I actually hit C and clone frame, I don't know if you saw that. Here, I'll make sure you can see a little bit more now. So this is actually a new frame, but it's the same Emacs process. So I can then hit Control X5 0, for example, to delete this frame, and we're back to the other one, which is confusing, right? But if I can also open a new one, Control X5, let's see, 2, make frame command, and see we open a new one. So now I can go to like main.c, and I could alt tab to parser.c. So I have 2 different frames open. And you could also move a frame out of full screen and move it onto another monitor, and then full screen it, right? And then that, you can't see it, but now on both monitors, I can just press Control X5 O, and I'll switch to the other monitor without ever using the mouse. So I can switch back and forth, and here's the cool part. If I switch to the other frame and switch to the same file, you can actually edit, as you can see, 2 different areas. On my other monitor, I'm typing down here in the new frame, but on this one I'm typing up here. Does that make sense? So here, let me move the second frame out of the way. I deleted it now. TreeMosher says, oh wow. Oh wow. It's true though. It's really cool how they do it. How you can visit the same buffer in two different frames. Emacs surprises me with a seriously useful feature every time. It's true. You go to wonder, like, you know that thing that takes actually like a long time to set up on every IDE, like getting it to work on 3 different monitors and the same like instance of it? Emacs is like, yeah, you can create as many frames as you want, however big you want. You can determine if they have window decorations or not. You can determine the alpha transparency of them. So you can literally create frames that go over things and black them out or make them, you know what I mean? Like, you can do whatever you want with Emacs. It's amazing. Especially with their frames and multiple windows. It's so incredible. But in Landar, I also get surprised. It's like they just have everything built in. You just have to figure out how to find it. And I think there's help in the built-in, yeah, what is it? M. So if you go to Emacs, I think there's frames. Yeah, so if you download Emacs, it has a whole section in its info help section, which you can access with Control-H-I. And all of these things have to do with multiple frames. So you could check out, for example, creating frames. And this just went through everything I did. Perfect. And even more. You can also create pop-up windows. It's cool. Okay, in x86-64 assembly, a Codegen context must contain stack offsets of local variables. Otherwise, how would we ever access them for creation, right? Does this make sense? How familiar is everybody here with x86-64 assembly? Has anybody written assembly? Ooh. I hit the wrong button. And I think I can create a new frame on my second monitor like that. Yeah. Oh, cool. And it just pops up on my other one. That's very neat. So, yeah. I think Control-X5.3 changes to the other monitor. That's very cool. So yeah, I think this makes sense. Sorry about that. So if we take a look at how, let's do that. Bring up trusty Stack Overflow. How does C access local variables, right? TreeMosher says, I gotta head back to the Monday grind. Nice seeing you all. Alright, good luck at your work. Have fun, TreeMosher. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that you can make it out. Even if we didn't get much done, I feel like we had a lot of fun together. So I really appreciate you coming. And feel free to catch the VOD when you can, or catch me next time I stream. Love you, TreeMosher. Thanks for coming out. Alright. This is the wrong question. How do you access a local variable globally? Sure. Because if C already has the solution, there's no reason to not steal it. I understand how they work. Give me the assembly. Nobody understands how they work. I'm gonna have to explain it. Damn. This is pretty good. This is better. So void foo, he has a disassembly, it looks like. Yeah. He's showing optimized code. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to explain it, or I can do my own disassembly. People ask coding questions on Quora. People ask everything on Quora. It's incredible what you can find on Quora. Never discount it, because every once in a while you get like a mathematics professor answering the question and it's genius. And then the other times you get like Bob from Ohio saying, well, here's what I think. And it's like, well, that is what you think. Let's keep it that way, because I think differently. But yeah, Quora is like a fool's gold mine, right? Every once in a while, there's actual gold. Most of the time, it's just fool's gold, though. All right, all right. So in x86-64 assembly, let's say that our program, we're going to be doing a lot of talking today. Should move this to just chatting. So we have let's say a program going to have a child, right? And let's just do it like this. And this will be a variable declaration. And then that's going to have things, right? What is that going to have? That's going to have, that's annoying to me. So the variable declaration is going to have a symbol and an ID. Let's call it A. And then let's do a variable reassignment. I could just call this assignment. That might be easier. And then this will be type new value, right? And I guess this won't necessarily work in this case, but it's fine. Landar, Twitch feature request. Be able to combine just chatting with a subtopic. So if you're talking about a specific thing, you can display that in the category. Ooh, that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. So the program, which looks like this. Sure. Why not? So this would be integer 420. Now, when we declare a variable, the idea is because the environment holds the type and value, if we pass the variable environment over, then hopefully we'll still have all their types and stuff. Which is going to be necessary for like the types environment, because if a new type gets defined while parsing, well, we're going to need to know the size of the type, which is probably the parser, right? So then the parser will store the size of the type in the environment, and then all sorts of stuff. That sounds pretty good. Are you converting the code to x86 assembly? Great question, Angel. What I am doing is, yeah, I'm effectively attempting to figure out what the AST needs to look like exactly so that we can actually generate code from it. Because I would like to get this AST up and running, but I gotta wrap my brain around it first, right? Sadly. So yes, we are working on converting this ourselves manually, this code, into an AST, a program AST, and then we're gonna unwrap that into x86 assembly ourselves manually to see if we can do it. Landar, I found a gem on Quora. Is the moron who regularly posts this ridiculous question or variants of it really a Swiss guy, Steven? Or is it one of the many deliberately confrontational questions that are repeatedly generated by the computer algorithms the arrogant, pathetic people at Quora use to generate a response from us mere mortals. That's crazy if most of the questions there are just bots. That'd be insane. That'd be pretty cool, though. So effectively, see, this is going to be different. So top level variable declarations are different. This is interesting. So Codegen, we codegen a program. We codegen the first child of the program. It's a variable declaration. So codegen vardecal would effectively look like what? I think codegen of a variable declaration would be to look up symbol in variable environment. Should never fail if parsing works. Right? Look up the symbol in the variable environment. Get size of type in bytes or something, or based on the type, guess the size, like if it's an integer. Anyway, then, so top level. A top level variable declaration is going to be a global variable. So we're going to actually have to like add, okay, so for each, so this would be, I screwed that up a little bit. Codegen for each top level vardecal inherited parsing context variables environment. All right, remember, if anyone has any questions, I will try and answer them. So we need to codegen for a top level variable declaration, but the top level variable declarations will be parsed and they will still be part of the parsing context at the end of parsing. So all the variables in the variables environment within the parsing context, Christ, can then be have code generated for them. And I think in assembly, we're gonna have to do some Googling now. So x86-64 assembly variable, I think it's dot space. Nah, not local variables. So assembly global variable. And then could we do a GNU, like extended assembly, guide to x86 assembly. Okay, Christ. So we can make, here's, okay, here's closer. So in the data section, welcome to comments, the stream, Landar says. That's right. Listen, we are going to write code, but if we want to write code that actually works, we got to know what it does. And I don't want to work on the compiler off stream. I feel like that's like cheating. Push QRDX, how's it going? You're back. Should Codegen, given that you have a type checking stage, even care about failure AST? I think about checker should do all of that, including figuring, storing type size, etc. You are correct. So these are all like lookups in existing data, if you notice. These are get size of the type from the symbol in the variable environment. So the variable environment within the parsing context, and that's what this little comment here says. It says, none of this should fail if parsing is actually working. Like if our AST gets generated and our environments are structured properly, we'll never have a symbol lookup that doesn't exist, because parsing will say, hey, that symbol doesn't exist in the variables environment. You can't redefine it or something like that, if that makes sense. So yeah, parsing will definitely, and also type checking, we don't necessarily have our type checking stage separated out yet because we don't have, we're doing simple parsing right now where assignments can only use literal values and not expressions, which obviously isn't great. We have to figure out the return value of expressions during type checking. So our type checking stage doesn't exist yet, but we are doing some type checking in the parsing, if that makes sense, and a lot of error checking. So assembly-wise, we could either generate stack space for all variables. So generate stack space for variable and access using the same local stack offset that nested scopes will use. Or, oh yeah, makes sense now. Though you thought you have a separate type checking pass. We definitely don't, as far as parsing goes. If we look at main, we basically just parse an expression and then add it to the program. And then the program just gets printed, and that's all we're doing right now. Right? We're not doing too much. But it took like 15 hours to get here, so, and all of you guys. Okay, so we generate stack space for variable and access using the same local stack. Yeah. Or we could generate variable space in .bss or .com or something. I don't know what chamber you are planning on storing your firearm in, but it had better be secure. What? So the idea is for top level variables, we should probably not use a local offset. Oops, didn't mean to send that here. Lamal, Landar, what are you up to? Oh, Christ. So we can give, what? Okay. So it looks like in assembly, I'm remembering it all now. You can define labels that point to allocated space. And I think there's a lot of these dot things. I think we can use dot space. Maybe we should just disassemble some stuff and look at global variables. See, like this. This is a global variable. No, this is a local constant. See, local constant 0. So it looks like we can just use a label, refer to that label in the future, and then generate space using some dot directives. So what are the dot directives? Yes, I know they're assembler directives. What are they? GNU assembler directives. I meant to DM that someone on Discord. It's a quote from Quora. Self-report. Landar sus. But Landar says, Landar says. Lamau. Now that's a self-report. Okay, here we go. Yes, I know. Eskiz. Oh, .com. I need .com. Oh. Interesting. That has implications. So .com creates a common symbol of the defined length. Whereas begin defining debugging information for a symbol name. Oh, Christ. So we can use .data to put things in data. I'm just looking for allocate. Like, how can I just get a certain amount of bytes that are 0? Please? Fill. This emits repeat copies of size bytes. Okay, so this is how we can do arrays. Christ. I love documentation made in pure HTML. Yeah. This is old GNU. It's an olden. It's an olden. Hopefully they start. I wish they would use org mode for more of their documentation, because the org website is made in org mode and it's beautiful. The documentation is great. But most of GNU's documentation is from 1980 and looks like this. So, okay. Okay. This may be what we're looking for. So this would be a file local common variable. Okay. On the HPPA, I don't even know what that is. So it looks like with .lcom directive, we can define a symbol with a given length that are not visible to the linker, so they are file local global variables. So I think this may be what we need. Heyo, Rainbow. I'm sorry that today's stream is reading documentation and not making awesome coding progress, but we will get there. We just got to trudge through this a little bit. So thank you everybody for sticking with me. I know it's not the most interesting. We will get back to it. And I'm looking for .space now. Ooh, .size. Nope, not needed. Okay, .short. Same as .word. .set. Set the value of symbol to expression. Oh, Christ. I don't even want to think about that. In assembly. What? This directive emits size bytes, each of value fill, and fill are absolute expressions, aka not expressions. Angel says, gotta go, have a great day. Thank you so much for coming out, Angel. That was a quick stay. I know it's a boring one today, but hopefully this will allow us to learn enough. We'll get into Codegen, and we will actually be generating code from our AST. Oh Christ, everyone's adding me for in my taskbar now. PushQRDX says, I see you have FL Studio there. Do you also like to fiddle with music or just have it for audio editing? I would call it fiddle with music. Landar says, why do you have multiple Brave icons on your taskbar? One of them is open to Twitch in my normal Brave. One of them's a private window, which is here. And this is for you guys, so there's no bookmarks, there's no history. See that? There's no history. And it just helps me not dox myself, right? I'd like to not get swatted. PushQRDX says, in response to Landar, cause he's super brave. That's why I got so many open, bruh. Cause I'm so brave. Don't you see how brave I am? Oh, we're all having fun. Push, you are so funny. I think you said I could call you Push at one point. You don't want us to see what you look up in your free time, lol. That's not what I'm worried about. It's more the doxing. Cause like, I don't want to have like what bank I use. I don't want that to be out, right? That's kind of not needed as public information. But if I have it as a bookmark, everyone's going to know, hey, that's the bank he uses, right? So it's a bit of like, it saves me effort for not having to hide things. I can just show you and go around on the web and not worry about it. And I'm not logged in on websites, so you know, like, oh, he already had an account there. He goes to that one. I don't know. It's just a privacy thing. That's all. I have to update too. It's been open too long. But yeah, so it looks like space is exactly what we want with a 0. So we're going to look at space. What else did we have? Okay, that just takes us there. That's not helpful. So we have space, and we can just directly allocate global strings in assembly, which is actually pretty baller. What is .type? Oh, Christ. Permitted only within def and def pairs, records the integer int as the type attribute of the symbol table entry. Oh, Lord. Type is associated only with coff format output. Okay. I was like, when as is configured for b.out output, it accepts this directive but ignores it. So there's some crazy stuff you can do with .def and defining symbols for the linker, it looks like. Yep, you can do some crazy stuff, but we don't need that. All we need to do is create space. We were looking at lcom for, see, I don't know why lcom would be used over space. I think space is just fine. And then we can also have .com for symbols that are public eventually when we get to linking together multiple files. Whew. We just read a lot of documentation, everybody. Let's go use our big brain knowledge now and apply it. Landor says, I searched something with a lot of spelling errors and a semicolon on the end. Google corrected the spelling mistakes, but not the semicolon. They'll never correct the semicolon. So we're going to have like section.data or something like that. I don't know how it necessarily looks, but this is pseudo assembly. And in section.data, we're going to have global 1. Does this seem fine? Or we could just do like a hash and get random values, like BRFW. How are people feeling about name mangling? Right? So let's just go G000001. That's allows for almost 1 million global variables. I think that's enough. So this would be a memory address in assembly. I wonder if we can just write this in test.asm. Yes. And I would like to say what. Okay, this is a little odd. That's better. So the indenting is not automatic. It's not quite great. And then this, we can use .space. We're going back. Sorry about the white flash. Emits size bytes, each of value fill. Okay. So this would be something like that. So this would allocate 32 bytes for the global 1. Alrighty, that seems doable. And then in the code, this is just a memory address. So this refers to the memory before this allocated memory in the program. So we basically just have to operate on that memory address by, what do we do? Do we load? Does anybody remember assembly? Also, is GNU assembly left to right or right to left? It's left to right, right? With percentages? Do I have to use $? I don't remember. Let's just move into RDX. And then let's say, Ooh, I guess we should also have like start data and end data. Ooh, assembly. Good evening. Hey, Eternal Wild Fox, how's it going? Yes, assembly. We're figuring it out. Doing a little... I didn't mean to save that. We're doing a little tests. Eternal Wild Fox says, good evening. Doing okay. What about you? Thank you, Eternal Wild Fox, for asking. I'm doing okay this morning. I just woke up. It's 10 a.m. I woke up probably an hour ago at this point, hour and a half. But yeah. And we are going to use dot space or something. Keep track of Landar asks, how have you been streaming for 50 minutes? I am a master at getting nothing done, don't worry. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I've been streaming for 50 minutes. It's went by really fast. We've all had a lot of fun though. We've been laughing. Speaking of having fun and laughing, if you aren't already, hit that follow button. We just need to get to 50 followers. We are already have every other goal for affiliate. We just need to get to 50 followers. So when we do that, guys, you can cheer with bits. There will be subscriptions. There's going to be VIPs up in this bitch. There's going to be so much going on. It's going to be sweet. And I really think it's worth it. So if you want and are enjoying what you watch, I really would encourage you to hit that follow button, as well as join the Discord down below if you want to come see all of us. We have a lot of fun. We talk. Come join. We are all friends. Redefine binding and globals environment to store new symbol. Right. Because then in further Codegen, we can just use the symbol. We don't need anything else. We may want to store, like, keep the type and its size and everything. So we'll keep its type and stuff, or at least just its size as an integer. But we'll keep its size as an integer and its symbol. So as we Codegen top-level variable declarations, we're going to need types, default values, which is just going to be 0. Okie doke. So this program would get generated into this AST, ideally. And then this would generate some assembly that looks somewhat like this. And the assembly would basically say global A. I guess we could just have the actual symbol, because we don't allow redefinition of symbols. I mean, this would be a problem while linking, but we'll fix that in the future. I found a new document about the chip 8. Oh, that's awesome. More documentation is always the best. Dot space size of integer 0. And by having this 0, we actually make sure that this starts out initialized, 0 initialized. We'd have to use BSS or something. Even then it should be 0'd. Where can you store things for uninitialized? I don't even know. It is really good, lol. Eternal Wild Fox, that's so good. You were working on your assembler yesterday. Are you still working on that, or have you moved on? Eternal says, I might write a version 2 of mine code based on that document. Yeah, that's awesome. So you found documentation that's so good, it's like, ooh, I could restructure things in a better way. Just because of your knowledge now. That's so cool. That's a good idea too. Upgrading is always good. So I want to move the value of GA into some register, right? And then I would like to I don't know how do we do memory access in GNU assembly? Yes, that's what I need. Okay, oh boy. Hey, this helps a lot. So, yes, absolute jump call, source and destination operands order. So we have source and then dest at the very end, whereas this has dest and then source. That's correct. Swapped, okay. Size of memory operands. Okay, but how do you actually access the memory? Because in Intel syntax, in NASM, you just surround it by quotes. Not quotes, square brackets like this. The first moves the immediate value, hence the $sign. Ooh, Eternal Wild Fox linked the new documentation for the chip 8 and said, it is old, lol. It's all good. We're checking it out. It's not secure. Not secure. Oh, it's very old. We're taking, ooh, this is really good. Yeah. This is great documentation. When it starts with a picture that good, you're like, okay, this is great. Ooh, very cool. Very cool. This goes over like a hardware chip 8. Ooh, very cool. Yeah, this is exciting. I can't wait. I hope I get to run your chip 8 emulator one day. So it looks like parentheses look to be the equivalent. When 1978 instruction manuals can still be used. Lamau. Most likely it is scanned. Oh, for sure that was scanned. That was absolutely. So it looks like memory access we can use with parentheses. We're just going to roll with that, right? Hopefully we do something like that and that works, because that's what this does here. And it goes source destination. So we would actually like to arrive. So we move the memory address, this label, into racks. Then we move into the memory at racks the immediate value, which would be 420. Eventually, when we have expression handling, right, we're going to be able to have an expression here that returns an integer in some register. So we'll basically do a function call. Or if we have enough registers, we'll just do it that way because we don't need to use the stack. Yeah. So effectively, this program should ideally codegen into this, if that makes sense. And then eventually this expression, this literal, will be changed to like RBX, and then we'll have some stuff to calculate RBX. And if it's not a, so if it's a type of a custom size and doesn't fit in a register, we're definitely going to have to do different things. Like we're going to have write string copying in assembly. Fun. It's easy. We just use the counter, RCX. And what? I think it tramples over RD. It's fine. We'll get into it. So my brain is now ready. I feel like I know what I need to generate code because we get to this variable declaration. If it's a symbol, I guess we don't need its type and stuff because this should be stored in the environment, which we are passed, and that's actually where we get all these top-level variable declarations from, whereas the variable declarations we run into... Okay. Not at the top level. If we are within a function or whatever, function body, then we're going to have some different ways of doing it using the stack. Alrighty. This is working. So we don't actually need this data because that data will be stored in the given environment, which the parsing context will pass. Okie dokie. So I wonder if the Codegen should just take in the parsing context in order to have everything it needs. That's not a bad idea. So Codegen context is going to contain like the symbols that are generated from these symbols, like GA. So it'll say the symbol A is bound to GA. And right, we don't need to know the types anymore. We just need to know, okay, whenever we see the symbol A in a like variable access or whatever, we actually need to use this GA symbol in this way. Okie dokie. So for now, this variable declaration can, okay, that's not the proper make. We haven't even built the thing today. Strimma, fun compiler. Nope, 2022, fun compiler and build. And then there's some same stuff, /func and example. Hey, haha. Do we have an exit? We do have an exit in here, so there's definitely some errors. I was like, wait, that didn't get all the way. Looking for blah and variables environment. Don't think we need that. Sure, we'll keep that for now. Valid type symbol blah, we kind of know that. So, if we take a look at our example, we should ideally get a program that errors out at here. I wonder, does that document also define assembler instructions? That'd be interesting. For the chip 8. So we then store the symbol in the variable declaration. We store the type in the environment, right? Somewhere down here. Yes. This is all fine. Okay, so now we get a new binding, which should be used directly. And status creation of new binding is what we are expecting. Then there's some error. I don't know what the error is, but there's some error. Redefinition of variable. Failed to define variable. Let's just do that. Exited abnormally with code 5. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? So let's go and figure these out. Also, I just want to take this time. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Be sure to hit that follow if you are enjoying or want to see more. Or just to get updates on how this compiler is coming along. Because it's going to take me a while. Okay, bog. So we can parse an integer. Otherwise it's a symbol. We look for an assignment of some sort. There is one. So if there's not one, we go, hey, I don't know what the hell you're doing. It does, more or less. Nice. Seems like it's not as beautiful as of documentation for the assembler instructions, but as long as it works. So I feel like we should have this be its own thing. Maybe we should do a little bit of refactoring. So I wonder if we can do something like advance. This is wrong. Lex advance. I was like, wait, I'm not parsing. I need this in the parser. Let me just copy this and figure out what the hell it does. So we have some error. We need to set the end to current token end, which can be token. This should be fine, but it can't return a size t. It has to return an error. Okay, then we have to say so this is like a function that returns many a value. It updates token, update token, token length, and end of current token pointer. Sure. Token end, token beginning. Then we can say return error after. What does error make? What do we have? Error create. That's what it is. This is going to be error arguments and say lex advance pointer arguments arguments must not be null. Good enough for me. There is a games chapter which shows assembly code, Eternal Wild Fox says. Nice. So he has some code examples for you. That's a big help. Code examples are honestly one of the best ways to learn, as long as you don't copy paste and you actually like read them and copy them by typing everything out. So I need to say token length at its memory address. And then if token length equals 0 break, that is going to have to break after lex advance. So we're going to have to keep that call. So this should do the same thing as whatever this crap does. Right? And then we just have to call this. Okie dokie. So now when we advance, we should set token length and end. I guess we should put this at end. We need to check if token length equals 0, then we can continue. Alrighty, what about here? Ooh, not quite. So this does check for the error, but this does not. So we're gonna have to say error equals lex advance, and we should be able to get rid of this stuff. And we would like to advance into current token. We would like into token length. We want that to be updated, and we want to set end as we did here. And then something like this. But I'm just going to copy. So if I need this back, I have it. Okay, I guess it didn't work before. Let's find our little exit, because that's when it worked before, so let's make sure it still works. Yep, int 69 and int 420. We're doing pretty good there. Alrighty, so now, where else? Lex advance. We're just gonna assume it works and break all this code because we have GitHub, why not? Current token, token length, and end. Just like that. Yep, here as well. Token length, and okay, so now we advance a little bit more efficiently, or at least cleanly, with less code duplication. That's always nice. And exited abnormally. It's expected. That's what we did before. Okay, cool. Who wants to figure out why we exit abnormally, huh? Let's do this compiler nonsense. Woo! Let's get it. Why are we exiting abnormally? So, I guess what we could do, so we could do printfs and see how long we are actually looping for if we get some sort of Stack Overflow problem from looping. I don't even know. Let's just print each token that we lex. Whoops, that's going to be printf. Yep, like that. This is going to be putchar, like that. Anybody ever play that? This is totally out of the blue. Anybody ever play that game like Double Action Boogaloo or something? Where you would run around and like dive and shoot people? It was on Steam and it was like a terrible indie game. But I used to play that all the time. It was crazy. It was like a bad TV movie made into a video game. It was awesome. I miss it every once in a while. Lol. So this returns, this returns, this returns. Lots of things return. What doesn't return? Why no return, right? So we can do it once, right? Do we ever actually get here? Is it something to do with printing? It is not something to do with printing. Is it something to do with creating children? As far as we know, it is not. Let's make sure. Okie dokie. So it's most likely in here. Why not? Like that, okay. Let's just do a long. And then say, instead of forever, we'll do while max. I guess that's still relying on it to get to 0, so that didn't work. Is there some limit? Okay. We can parse a variable declaration with the symbol A. That's exactly what we need. We can parse 1. What happens when we parse 2? We get a very large error, okay? That's interesting. Does it happen during parsing? It doesn't. We can lex A, we can lex 69, and as long as we don't add this child, it works. But guess what? If we add the child, oh, it still works. Look at that. So maybe if we put it here. Now that's a confusing one, is it not? Oh, because that's in the while loop. I'm an idiot. Make me dumb, please. Okay, so we can lex 2 things in a row. It says assigned expression int 69. Can we print the node? Does that cause issues? We can print the node. Let's do that then. What about twice? We still get to issues. Okay. So I would say there's probably something in add child that's going wrong. Otherwise, we would be able to add the child and have a program. It doesn't make sense that this second one is failing, right? Node, add child. And we're using expression. Oh, I think I know the bug. I figured it out, everybody. I'm an idiot. Once again, God. If children. Yeah, just set the children pointer to the new child. Ugh. Yeah. It's so obvious now that I look at this. I hate it. I'll go through it. So when we add a new child, you can see that this pointer is used verbatim. So the actual pointer is just set to the pointer we give it. There's no like copying done by add child, which is useful because it lets the programmer control what's going on, right? Do I have even node copy? I thought I wrote node copy. Hello? Did I not? Yep, I did not. That's beneath? Beneath. I just said beneath. Yikes. What did I just write? I don't even know what I'm doing now. Okay, so we copy A into B. Into B. Asserting allocations. Right? Yep. Allocations are asserted. So we assume B to be something already. So we have to allocate this node ourselves. Which would kind of be nice if we could have node copy just return a new pointer. Like, I don't know why we did it this way, but it's fine. It's fine. like maybe we could make node copy new that return. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Effectively, this copies all the children, allocates new nodes, and also does not assert that new child exists. Something like that. That's good enough for me. So now allocations are asserted. And we can do this. That was messy. So add child now owns child. Expression allocated once can then be used to get the next expression and freed when we no longer need expression. So we can node free expression somewhere around here. Still exited abnormally with code 5. Hopefully it somewhat works. So we can still parse one expression. So copying from expression into child. I think that's how it's handled. Symbols, allocated values are handled. Otherwise, we just say, yeah, copy it. Like an integer, this should work. Alrighty. We made a lot of progress in the last 20 minutes after starting to actually write code. So we say new child equals node allocate. Then this pointer gets used. And yes. Copy from the child into the child it. Child is the A children. Okay, yeah. So create a new child every time there is one. That seems fair. So what's going on here? We get to 1, parsed expression, sure, whatever. But we get to 2, don't work. So okay. That breaks. Does that break? That also breaks. So there's something to do during parsing. Gotta love this type of debugging, right? Just move around the exit until you figure out what goes on. So this should work like it did before. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the idea Hey, first time chat. What's going on? Grammar to parser boy. Hello from Germany. For which language do you write a compiler? I'm writing my own programming language. It is so fun. I love it. That's awesome to hear. I'm also writing my own. If you take a look at the YouTube link down below or the Twitch VODs, like my previous broadcasts, you can take a look at the first Making a Compiler series. And in the first 10 or 15 minutes, we came up with this syntax so that assigning a variable a type of integer and a value of 69, looks like that. And you can reassign a variable with this symbol, the assignment. You can declare with no initialized value and then reassign later. And then this is supposed to be an error that we're going to catch and function calls and such. But yeah, so it's a statically typed compiled language that I'm working on. I have a language in the form of a text editor the Light Lisp text editor, which is on my GitHub. You can find it there. And the Light Lisp text editor actually has a Lisp interpreter built into it so that you can customize it while it's running, much like Emacs. What language are you working on? How are you doing, Grammar to Parser Boy from Germany? My language is syntactically a combination of C# and Rust. You just scared me away. It compiles to .NET, but you can add your own backends. That's very cool. That sounds like a very mature language, honestly. I'd love to see it. Is it open source? That sounds amazing to me, says Landar. Yes, it's open source. Awesome. Feel free to link it in the chat. We can all check it out. This seems to be fine. We advance the lexer. Look for an equals, advance the lexer. It's written in C#. It's called backlang. Hey, look, we're here. Very cool. A new Rust C# inspired language for .NET and other platforms. Is there an example of some code? Yes. Ooh, very cool. This is not bad. Oh, this is very Rust-like. Okay. Memory set. So this is memset. This is a... What is this for? There's supposed to be another one here? So you have pointer dereferencing even, and pointers, a lot like C. This is very cool. This is a cool language. I like this a lot. I can't believe you created this, my guy. Hopefully you get more stars. This is sweet. The macro system. I'm interested in the macro. This is a very old example. I've changed the syntax a little bit. I see. I just clicked into the standard. I was like, hopefully there's code here. That's 4 months ago, 4 days ago, test project. So that's all in CS. Landar says, I starred. Hey! Oh, wow. Yeah, you've changed it a little bit. This is a lot more like C#. So you have public static func main, which returns i32, let n. Oh, you have let. That's cool. System.console write line. That's cool. So you have a... This is cool. String concatenation? My guy. You have so much done already with .NET. That's cool. That's very cool. How is it... It's for .NET, not Mono, so it looks like it's a Windows-only thing. That's very cool, though. You've done a lot of work on it, as is evident. Lamau. You and other people as well. Cool. Very cool. Add new features. That's the best changelog. It's for all platforms, not only Windows. Oh, nice. Does the .NET actually... I thought Mono was the only one that ran on Linux, but does .NET run on Linux now? That'd be sweet. .NET Core is cross-platform now, isn't it? I see. Yeah, I'm not up to date. So .NET Core is cross-platform. That's sweet. Very cool. I'll have to start this in my regular browser. where I am logged in so that I remember. Perfect. Starred. Grammar to parser voices. Yes, it is cross-platform. Nice. Okay, I don't think we need all of these open anymore. We answered our questions. Yes, good enough. Okie dokie. I always search for people help. Awesome. Yeah, if people want to contribute, they can. Open sourceness. Make a pull request. Is there any way people can find things that they might be likely to do, or should they just dive in and do what they want? Okay, so that's... We're looking for memory errors of some sort. We may have to break out Visual Studio, sadly. Also, I just want to thank everybody so much for watching. We've been streaming an hour and a half at this point. If you would, be so kind, there's a follow button down below. Once we get to 50 followers, we will be at Twitch affiliate. You'll be able to cheer bits. You'll be able to subscribe. You'll be VIP members in the chat. It's going to be sweet. Grammar du Parser Boy, thank you so much for the follow. I very much appreciate that. I use GitHub projects so they can dive in. I also have a VS Code extension. Nice. That's really awesome. So yes, if you're interested in that language, backlang, go check it out. Go contribute. Help them out. Be cool to... It's a very mature project already. Lendo says he might help out if he has some spare time. That's perfect. What? No pressure. Just a cool project to work on. Alrighty. Yeah, we still are not there. I don't think we'll ever need to do any of these, but they're not useful. And they'll all return 0 by default. I'm just going to have that kind of be clear with the break keyword. So cases should only ever return 1 or break. Also, these are wrong. Look at us. Landar says, I'm going to be back in about 10 minutes. Need to go and pick up something. Sweet, Landar. Thank you for the warning. Feel free to go get anything anytime. And we will see you soon. We really appreciate you being here, and good luck on your journey getting something. So we can create a node integer. We don't need to set those. Node allocate uses calloc. So yes, integer value, symbol, symbol. What is going on? So I've looked through most of this code and I am not seeing the error. If you in chat do see the error, I would very much appreciate it because I have no idea why it just exits. I assume we have some heap corruption that Windows is trying to stop us from doing. You know what? We're gonna have to do it. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I really love the macro system. If all things are implemented, so much things can be done. For example, generate objects at compile time from JSON, or extend the language. That's so cool. It also has operator overloading. That's so sweet. You have a very mature language. It's so cool. You've done a lot of work. Okie dokie. So, we don't need doc strings in the implementation. So, new child. Node allocate actually asserts new child, so we don't need to do that. I screwed that up earlier. That's fine though. Shouldn't break anything. So then copy from child into child next child. No, into child iterator, which is set to child iterator next child. Yes. So we get this, and then set iterator. Okay. So this dereference sets the first child to new child. And then on the next time, this now points to new child. So new child will be dereferenced. So the first child, next child will be dereferenced to new child. So that should work. All these pointers should be updated. Grammar to Parser Boy says, yes, but it is so much work. Not only writing a compiler, you also have to write documentation and tooling. Oh, I know. Documentation is the hardest part of writing code, getting at people to actually understand how to use it. Tooling is usually the fun part for me. I get to like tinker with things, try and make things work. So we can calc a context, dereference it to create into it. Yes, yes. Set integer, yes. Update token, token length, and end of current token pointer. Yes. Yesu, yesu. You know what the good part is when your compiler doesn't work yet, is you don't have to write any documentation because it doesn't actually function. There's no nothing to document. That is a good starting point. Into current token, update token length, update end. We say lext, blah. Parse integer, return okay. Maybe we're not returning from somewhere. So at the end of the while loop, if nothing actually continues, we return an error and say it was unrecognized. We didn't continue, we didn't do anything. We return okay here from within if token string equals this. So no matter what, this is a returning thing. But it may return elsewhere. Ooh, it may not, because if we break out of it, what happens? Why do we break? What is break here? So do we need to return instead of break? Because why would we break out of the while loop that we're parsing in just to return error? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Wouldn't it make sense to just return okay? Because the error is already guaranteed to not be an error. Also, are we not checking for an error here? Like that? Again, doing it here. I'm an idiot. Wonderful. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I think writing parsers is the most funnest things to code. I've written so many parsers, I love it. That's awesome. Eternal says, I'm working on an assembler disassembler for chip 8 right now to Grammar to Parser Boy. Yeah, that'd be sweet if Grammar to Parser Boy could check it out. Because the chip 8 project is rather cool, if I do say so myself. So if we get an integer, we just return, because we don't look ahead for operators yet, and we're going to have to do like factor and term crap, or just operator precedence. That's fine. So we use the current token length, which is not 0, from the beginning of the token, blah, blah, blah. This could probably be a little macro. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I have written a custom CPU architecture with assembler and custom higher language for a school project. My guy. That's insane. Where do you find the time? Are you 60 years old? Like, how have you done all this stuff? variable binding node allocate. This is a little suspicious. No, that's fine, because variable binding gets filled with this data. And then we get to free the actual node, but the data of the node gets to stay because it refers to some other thing. Landar says, I am back earlier than expected. Grammar to Parser Boy says he is 25 years old, or she is, or they are. I have started programming at the age of 11. Well, you are much ahead of me. I promise that. I've been programming a long time. I'm only 19, but I've been programming a long time. And I haven't done that stuff. I've created an OS and a text editor that are quite terrible. Grammar 2 Parser Boy says, I am a he with a happy face. Nice, that's good to know. Masculine pronouns. That's really cool that you've done so much, though. It's very sweet. Landar says, I've created nothing. Sim on the Swede says, I am a compiler. Oh no. No, no, no. Lol. Landar says, most of my spare time programming, I contribute to open source. Then, in fairness, you've probably done more than most of us. Because I've contributed to, like, Meson, the build system, but I haven't done very much. Mostly I just work on my own things. So you're actually probably more valuable for actually contributing to the world. And yeah, Grammar to Parser Boy says the same thing, but this is also very important. Absolutely. So I wonder, what is this issue? So we get this reassign expression. This is confusing. So we get this reassign expression. Why do we only use the value? What's going on there? That doesn't make sense to me. Because we only accept literals right now. I don't think that's the best move. I think we should just set the first child, like what should be the expression value. See, but we have to retain next child, right? So we have to say reassign expression next child equals variable binding children next child. Does that make sense? So we have this var reassign, and we need to implant it in a larger tree, right? Program. So from our variable binding, okay, so we're actually within the environment. And I have a comment doing all this right around here. I do. So we have a variable binding. And the child contains what? The symbol? Yes. So the binding, child should be symbol, next should be type value. That makes sense. So when we actually get the variable binding, what is environment get? We are not making a lot of progress today, but we are having fun. That's all that matters. All right, so we have a binding iterator. So when we get from the environment, we return what? Result equals the value. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Perfect. And then say fill results with value bound to ID in environment if successful. Yeah, sure. Right, so now environment get will have value. So this will just refer to the type and value that we get, or the expression or whatever. So in the environment, should we store the actual expression that it evaluates to? I don't think so. I don't think that's helpful. I think that should get stored in the AST. So with our reassignment, let's think about this. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I have starred your GitHub repository. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Grammar. I don't get a lot of stars around here, so I appreciate that. I've been streaming for 1:45. Be sure to, I know most of you people already are and are tired of the spiel, but be sure to check out the Discord down below where you can check out announcements every time I go live. And also we can talk to each other, have fun, message me, message all each other, and be able to influence the stream, right? It's a lot of fun. Check out the Discord, check out the YouTube if you want to check out previous broadcasts. There's a few of them. We made a suicidal bot. You could go check that out. And then there's also the donate button. So if you would be so kind, I do not have many sources of income. I'm working on it, but it's a rough one right now. And it would be greatly appreciated if you could donate. Obviously, I don't want to take your money. Your money is your money. You need it. Don't give it to me. But if you have extra lying around and you feel extra generous today, why the hell not, right? Anyways, that's my me begging on my knees all over with, and we can now continue with the regularly scheduled programming. Get it? Because it's like normally they say that on TV for a TV program, but this is programming. Haha, haha. Oh, grammar coming in with the back-to-back community growth. He stars the GitHub repository and then says, joined your Discord server. What a legend. What a legend. We're going to go wave at him. Hi. Can I wave at you, please? Why can't I wave? Normally it lets me wave at new people. Oh, people are already waving. That's why. Haha. I was like, ooh, I can't wave, but that's why. There's so many people waving already. That's awesome. Landar is amazing. He's up to date on everything. He's so fast. He's there right away. Is this fine? Because then we eventually... Also, when we return here, we never free this variable binding, which is a little worrying. Like, truthfully, this should be freed. This is why, by the way, smart pointers are a thing. This variable binding, we return in here. We should technically free it every time. Like this. Which is kind of awful. So instead of that, I think we can actually... So this variable binding actually just refers to the value. And because we're overwriting the value to a newly allocated node, we can actually entirely free this node because we should just set next child to nothing, right? I don't think we ever actually walk that tree. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I have so much to work on, but I procrastinate. I feel you. That's kind of all I do. We still get exited out normally. That's wonderful. I'm sure it's my fault, and I'll find it eventually. Is this the error? Why do I do variable binding children? What is the idea here? Why? Variable binding is a thing in and of itself. Is it not? So variable binding, fill result with value bound to ID and environment if successful. If successful, found existing symbol and environment, blah, blah, blah. So now variable binding contains the value. So did we actually muck that up? I think we did. Shouldn't it just be the type? So we're going to actually print this node. Good enough for me. Oh, I missed some chat from Landar. Landar says, I have notifications on for everything and nothing else to do. That's fair. That's still a lot of dedication. A lot of people, even when they have notifications on, they don't actually like go look at them. It's very cool that you're so active. I think it's impressive, at least. Ooh, and Grammar to Parser Boy says, so where are you from? And do you want to do coding as a profession? He might be talking to Landar or me. Grammar says, I will start an apprenticeship as software engineer in Spetmerb. I am so excited. I'm sure I butchered that city or town name, Spetmerb. But it sure is a funny looking word to me. That's really cool that you're starting an apprenticeship. You're September. Nice. I thought it was a city name in Germany. I was like, what is that? But September makes more sense. He starts an apprenticeship as a software engineer in September. He is so excited. That's really sweet. You got a job coding. If you're talking to me about with those questions, I am from America. And I don't want to do coding as a profession necessarily. I like to just work on my hobby projects. But it wouldn't be the worst profession if I could actually fall into one, if that makes sense. Yeah, so we get int 69. Look at us. So the issue is we're accessing the children, variable binding children. We should just be doing this, but we can't just do that, right? Should we do environment set of what is our ID? We should already have our ID and our environment based on environment get. So context variables symbol. And what value? Well, we want to set it to the reassign expression instead of whatever we had before. Good Mallard says, why wouldn't you want to do it as a profession? Well, there's a lot of complicated answers to that question, but I'm going to go with a simple one. And I would say that doing it as a profession, I'm scared that it would take away the magic. Like, this is something I can do alone at home and not want to blow my brains out every day. You know what I mean? So it's kind of valuable to me as something I can do. It's like, I can actually spend time doing this and I don't go crazy and I don't harm other people. So it seems like I don't want to lose that. You know what I mean? By making it a profession and something I have to do in order to get my like basic survival needs met. It might remove some of the magic that lets me do it every day, all day. You know what I mean? So I'm scared it would kind of take away my happiness, in a sense. And that's the simplest answer. I could give. That makes perfect sense, says Good Mallard. Awesome. I always get a little bit afraid that I'll scare people away, telling them like, well, this is kind of the only thing I can do, otherwise I go crazy. I like worry. People wonder. Or get scared themselves. Like, what does he mean he goes crazy? Not listening to this dude. Click. Just anxiety, I'm sure. Okay, so we now have a reassign expression into a variable binding. And the problem is, look, we're accessing children for no reason. So reassign expression, next child. So this would say in the environment, if we do have a value that has children, we'll keep those children. We just want to change the first value. So now set it to the reassign expression and then free the variable binding, because reassign expression, okay, then we should say, we really need an enum for this, by the way. We should just do that now, honestly, but whatever. Alrighty. We're coming up on 2 hours of streaming. This is so much fun. We're still parsing. Grammar to Parser Boy says, I want to teach other people coding, so I need certificates to gain trust for my own company in future. I want to make the digital education much better in Germany. It is horrible. That's really cool, my guy. That's such a wholesome goal. I don't feel like I have that much influence on the people around me in real life. I don't think I could actually do much. But it sounds like you're like active in your community. You're like making a difference, my guy. That's really cool. That is grammar, yeah. Grammar is a he. So we want to make sure it equals 2. And if it doesn't, well, we have some sort of error. But what is it? So if we try to update a value and it fails, we're just going to say could not handle what. Also, am I doing this wrong? I feel like I may be being a big dummy. I do feel like I'm being a big dummy. Why aren't we creating a reassign node and returning that? What are we doing? What are we doing? But that's really cool, Grammar to Parser Boy, that you want to like spread your knowledge. Hey, we got a follow. Kronberg10, how's it going? Thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate you watching. We got a lurker follow. Can we get a lurk in the chat? Grammar says, I had organized an event for digitalization in my hometown. I also had a keynote for data privacy. I really want to make a difference. You absolutely are. First time chat. Heyo. We got a new chatter. Kronborg10. How's it going? Kronborg10? He says hey, or they say hey, I should say. How's it going? Hey to you as well. LenderXT says, just want to echo what Lenzer said. That's an amazing case, or cause, and something that would be amazing to see the benefits of. Absolutely. Landar and Grammar welcome Kronberg 10. Lender says, welcome. Grammar says, hey, Kronberg. You're doing good. What brings you to watch this compiler stream, Kronberg? I'll warn you, it's not a good one. I'm not a good programmer. Don't treat it as a tutorial. So we have a reassign expression. So we can parse into that expression. Now that we have this reassignment, I kind of just want to delete all this code and redo it because this looks horrible. I don't really want any of it. So then we check, okay, does the type equal the type? So if the type equals the type, we should just be able to copy the value over and it should be fine. But that's what we had before and it didn't work. And we tried to fix it and it didn't. LandRXT, tutorial on how to write fix me comments. Absolutely. How to write bad code that you know is bad, but you still use it anyway. So we don't want to set the environment. The environment should just contain the type. Oh man, I'm so dumb. I wish I was less dumb. So instead of doing things like this, we are just going to delete this all. And let's see. Let's see. When do we set result, right? We got to set result in here. So we're going to have to create, oh Christ. What type of this? This is a variable reassignment. Ah. Could we treat a variable reassignment as anything else? Like, can we treat it as a function call? Or I think it's its own thing, its own node in the tree. So we have to treat it in its own way. So contains two children. The first is the new expression to execute that returns Kronberg 10 says, I like low-level stuff. Unfortunately, most Twitch streams seem to be web development. Ugh. I know how you feel, Kronberg. I know how you feel. I can't deal with web development. I can tolerate it, but I won't deal with it. Grammar asks, are you doing variable binding in the parser? Like I said, I'm being dumb. So yes, I am. I'm generating a list of bound variables in the parser so that the parser can detect redefinition of variables. So that we don't have to like walk the whole AST just to check that there's not another symbol of the same thing or whatever. I think that's much more work than just being able to not add new ones. So we have a little bit, we're not doing variable binding necessarily in the parser. This variable binding just refers to the parsing context environment, if that makes sense. So in our parsing context, we have a list of variables and their types so that we can do basic type checking and stuff while parsing, so that we just generate the proper tree instead of, you know, instead of generating an invalid tree and then telling you it's invalid. We just never generate an invalid tree in the first place. But we are just doing this all from scratch, and I'm not really thinking ahead about anything, so take with that what you will. So a variable reassignment in the AST. The first is the new expression to execute that returns proper type. And second is symbol. I think that works. Children equals some child, right? And we're going to use node add child to do something like this. So what child do we need to add? We need the reassign expression, which we already have, and then we need the symbol, which I think we already have. So we can add to the var reassign node our reassignment expression, basically on the left side if this was a binary tree. And then we can what else do we, what symbol are we at? Hello. So we get this symbol. Right. So this is some unknown symbol. It may be a variable name or something. And in this case, it is a variable name, an existing variable. So then if we detect a reassignment, we parse the expression with a terrible recursive call. We should just use stack-based continuation with a working result, but whatever, we'll get there. For now, we just parse expression for the reassignment expression. Hope that it works. And if it does, currently we do this terrible type checking, which is why we have a to-do and a fix-me. Grammar to parser boy. So you don't allow scopes in your language? With your current implementation, it wouldn't be possible to shadow variables in an inner scope. I don't believe that's correct. I disagree with that statement. Let me show you why. A parsing context contains environments that can bind things. For now, there's types and variables. So when a user defines a new type, we can store the type information in the types environment, right? And this parsing context will eventually get passed to Codegen so that we can define all the global variables and then define all the types that we need and have all that information, for example. You see there's a fix-me here. There's a struct parsing context parent. And what we're going to do eventually, we're not parsing any nested scopes yet. When we parse a nested scope, we will use this parent that isn't actually there yet, and we will create a nested parsing context. So we'll say like context equals new context, right? And new context parent equals context. And then we can evaluate into this context and it is planned. Absolutely. We have scopes planned. And we're going to use the same technique during Codegen to have a dynamic kind of local variable pointer. Like our base pointer, stack pointer, effectively. We're going to use a similar system where we create a new stack in the actual Codegen to keep track of the offset from the original stack offset, and then like that. So we're going to have like nested scopes built into the Codegen and AST. We've got plans for it all. But yeah, we just haven't actually gotten there yet. We're still working on variable assignment because I'm an idiot and my brain has a hard time actually coming up with what the AST needs to look like for our actual Codegen to happen. But over time, I come up with it and I eventually get there. How do you do Codegen? With LLVM or do you write your own? We are writing our own. Everything is from scratch, no libraries. LLVM is quite a large library. Derpy Sloth 123. Yo, how's it going? You were here yesterday. It's so good to see you again. I'm really glad you can make it. Landar says I need to go do something. That might take 10 minutes or 10 hours, so I might be back or I might not be. Alrighty, Landar. We're sending love your way. Thank you so much for coming and watching while you could. And good luck. Keep it real on your adventure. Hopefully it takes 10 minutes if you don't want it to last too long. Landar says, I still haven't watched one of your full streams yet. That's okay, my guy. There's always the VODs available if you have time. And if not, you just gotta come back next time. That's right. Just gotta come back next time, try again. Grammar to Parser Boy, oh, thank you, says, I really enjoy viewing your stream. How often do you stream? I'm aiming for 3 to 5 times a week. And sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less, based on time, money, and mental health, right? The 3 things you can't avoid in life, along with death and taxes. So, but yeah, 3 to 5 times per week is my, like, how often. And as for when, I try and do 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. PST is when I start, so the left side of America. But a lot of my viewers are not from there. They're more European, like you, who are from Germany, right? In the EU. And I really appreciate viewers from everywhere. It's really cool to connect with the whole world. It's like I can just talk to you guys, like you're right next to me. Grammar 2 parser boy. And the death causes taxes, at least here in Germany. Oh Christ, yes it does. Funerals cost so much money. It's horrible. At least in America. I don't know what... You may have a different system. Different causes for taxes. But in America, Christ, someone dying is like enough to put you into bankruptcy. It's terrible. If you don't have like a ton of saved money up. If you're not rich. Because if you just have like $20,000 you can drop, well then guess what? Funerals aren't that expensive to you. But if you're a regular person who doesn't have $20,000 just like to drop on at a moment's notice, death definitely causes taxes because you either have to get a loan or go into debt somehow to pay for the funeral. It's terrible. America. Okay. So we have this reassign expression. We want to create a var reassign node. We don't need to add the same expression twice as a child. This needs to be symbol. But symbol is used for something else, is it not? It's not in this case. Symbol has been parsed separately into its own node. So now the var reassign owns the reassign expression in the symbol. We free the actual node that we allocate because we copy the contents into our result and then return OK. Oh Christ. That, oh my god. Oh my god. It worked, it worked. Okay. Oh, grammar. Eternal Wild Fox, okay. I have a simple plan, finish the disassembler and assembler today. That is an amazing plan. That's a lot of work. Eternal Wild Fox, if you do that, be sure to drop it in the Discord. I would love to hear about it. Even if you don't, let us know about the progress you make. Your Chip 8 assembler is so cool. I love hearing about it. And I can't wait to actually write programs for it. Like I read into the Chip 8 assembly, like the actual programming language, last night, because I had a little bit of time before bed. And it actually looks really cool. Like we could make a little game on it. Like we could make Breakout or Pong or something on stream in a few hours, I think. It would be a lot of fun. Grammar asks, which programming languages do you also know besides C? Lots. Lots of programming languages. I've done a lot in my lifetime, so I don't like use all the programming languages I have known, if that makes sense. So they're not current knowledge. But currently, I know C, C++, Pascal, a little bit of Algol 68. I'm doing some light reading. Lisp, I'm an avid Lisp user. I've wrote my own Lisp runtime in a text editor with its built-in interpreter. Very cool. So I would say C, Lisp, Pascal, C++ obviously, and I've also done some more forays into other languages, but those are my main ones right now that I actually go to write programs in. Whereas over time, I know Python, I know like a bunch of different shell scripting languages. I wrote a bunch of scripts for a while, so like PowerShell and Bash and Fish and Zish. New Shell is a new one, I know that. So all these Bash and shell-based programming languages that are kind of scripting languages. Python, I don't know if I said that already. Python, obviously, it's a simple one. I haven't mastered it, but I know it. I can use it as basic scripting. Python's really good for like web requests, actually, just because of how easy it is to like download a web page and turn it into JSON or stuff like that. Other than that, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, C#, for all the web stack, MS, like model view controller, servers. I've done too much. But yeah, that's a good list, I'd say, to answer your question. Eternal Wild Fox says, I will try. Awesome. Yeah, don't feel pressured if you don't want to share, obviously. But if you want to share, I just want to mention that we are all here for it and very interested. Good Mallard says, for how long have you been programming? I've been programming 10 to 15 years, depending on what you call programming. Hey, look, a rainbow appeared. That's fun. Grammar says, my language started as a project to target on a custom platform invented by a German Twitch streamer. So lol. He has written a custom VM and assembler and he's currently writing his own compiler. That's awesome. Grammar says, so you know lots of languages. What language is your most favorite? The one you're looking at, baby. C. C is my favorite. Not in terms of syntax, but in terms of use and actual usability from the user. The way that C is so ingrained low level to the hardware, but also allowing for high level abstractions, it's very cool. Very, very cool. I think it's one of the best languages ever created. But as far as syntax goes, I think I prefer something like Jai, which I didn't even mention. Okay, Jai, but that one's a closed beta. So Jai is a really cool syntax, and everything about Zig is also cool syntax. It's kind of like C, but a little bit better. But yeah, usability-wise, C 100%. But actually, syntax, it changes. I don't like the way that C does keyword name. I prefer name keyword. Like, because reading it, it's like, oh, error lex. But you don't need to know what lex returns right away necessarily, right? You could say lex, okay, what are its arguments? It takes in a source, which is a char pointer, and a token, which is a token pointer. But in C, that's all kind of backwards, at least in my head. Which is why the language I actually came up with, for example, uses the other way around. We have symbol, and then type, and then value. So A is an integer with a value of 69. And you could even, I think, like, I want to make custom operators possible. So I want to have, like, I want this to be possible, where you can define isOn as the operator that does this. So both of these could be valid. And then you could have, like, terrible, terrible English-based code. It would be incredible. Yes. All with time, all with time. Plus, I only get to work on this for like 3 to 4 hours a day on stream, so. With more time. Where did, oh, the rainbow happened and now we're somewhere else. So okay, that's what I was doing. Node print or something. Print node? Where? Okay, this is annoying. The language should deduce the return type automatically. So much unnecessary code noise. The language. This unnamed language? It does. This is a variable declaration, right? After declaring, then you just use the reassignment operator, which is the same thing but with no type. So I think what you're describing is literally what we do. All languages. You're right. I can't imagine having to write the type of something every time I reassign it. That would kind of be awful. So, okay. Grammar, do you know C? Have you written anything in C? Why does this not work? I'm mad. I've been mad for a few streams in a row, and now I can't find any answer on it. If we take a look at parser.h, we have an enum node type, and it has a max. The C standard says that enumerations are the last one plus 1, right? So if I say this equals 0, then this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So the max node type should be 8, which should not equal 7, right? And here's the kicker. Doesn't match. So now, I know a little bit of C, but I've never written any useful applications in C. I see, but you're very smart because the answer you gave before that is a lot of knowledge. Because you have an integer literal, the compiler knows it is an integer, so why you have to specify the type? It is annoying in my opinion. I see. So you're saying even in cases for variable declaration. That's a good point. So if we already have a way to deduce the return type of an expression, why require it? Let's add that to the to-do, my guy. I like your style. So we're going to add this to the miscellaneous, and we're going to say allow automatic type deduction, possibly with custom type, as we already have the ability, or should do. Since we already have the ability, or should have the ability, to deduce return type of an expression, why require type annotation explicitly in simple variable declarations? Sure, in variable declarations in general. Why not? So as we already have the ability, or should have the ability, to deduce return, why require variable declarations? Maybe have custom deduce type or something, right? So if we had a custom like deduce type, maybe that would be, you do something like that, like a equals 69, and this symbol here means, hey, we'll deduce the type, we'll figure it out for you. That's a possibility. Either case, it's added to the to-do. And in either case, this node type max is equal to 8, so checking that it equals 7 should fail and say doesn't match, but it should also trigger this assert and crash the entire program. And look, chat, what is going on? This, I'm angry, I'm sorry. But assigned expression, and then it says doesn't match. So because we're in print node, normally we would print int69 right after assigned expression, but we're printing this. So it says doesn't match. So node type does not equal 7. This evaluates to false. This is false. And then we assert a false statement, and then it just continues and doesn't actually crash or do anything. What is happening? What is happening? My language has type literals to change the type of the literal. It is much less noise than a whole type name. Lamau type literals to change the type of the literal. See, that's another thing I was going to have. That's actually in the to-do. That's funny. I have an any type that can accept any type. So a variable, like a function, would be able to accept a type as a parameter because the type of the parameter is of another type. Does that make sense? So it's not like an auto type where any type can be passed, but it's like a type that stores another value of a type. It's a little meta, but that is in the plans as well. That's cool, your language has the same thing. It is much less noise than a whole type name. So can you have a variable, a type variable, used in place of the type name in the variable declaration? Or can you just specify? Interesting. You probably have casting. That's probably the answer to my little question. So we run this program. It says doesn't match. This is a false statement. See? Doesn't match, doesn't match, doesn't match. We constantly say, hey, this doesn't match. This isn't right. And then, after it doesn't match, this evaluates to false, we just pass right on through this assert. Do you compile with D and debug? Do I need to compile with not debug? Assert should fail and trigger either way, right? Even in debug builds. Am I an idiot? Do I just not know how this works? I've used assert so much in my life. I've never ran into this issue. But you're saying if I compile... Okay. So what if I just rebuild my CMake thing, right? -D and not debug disables it. But not debug and debug, doesn't that mean you're in release mode? So wouldn't assertions, shouldn't they actually work? So you're saying maybe I need to generate a debug build for these to work? I'm trying to figure out what you're saying, my guy. I'm sorry. I am very dumb. So we generate a new debug build tree using Ninja, please. That worked. And then use the debug one, please. Okay. Okay, Spark Station. First time chat from Spark Station, and it's a bug fix. Look at us. You are incredible. Spark Station, you're the best. ndebug replaces the assert call with nop instructions. Why? So is there an assert that doesn't get removed in release mode? Like what? Thank you so much, Spark Station, for helping a lowly, idiotic programmer fix his anger he's been having in his project. I'm like, why are all my assertions not working? So CMake created a release one by default using dndebug. Oh, Christ. Yeah, must be a CMake thing. It absolutely is a CMake thing. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. This actually helps a lot. Because we can now properly use this. Look at this to do. When was this added? That's so funny. I've been so mad. This assert doesn't work. I don't know why, sad face. So true. Yeah, and I need to handle... I don't really know how to compare these yet, so we're just going to leave them alone. Oh, thank you so much, Spark Station. You're the best. You are the best. We finally do it. Okay, what is this assertion? Give me where. Where happened? Parser C 191. Okay, so it needs to be 8. And we are handling printing. Hey, this would solve our little problem before. Okay, we can now get rid of our doesn't match thing that I was angry about. Like, come on. Emacs thinks this is a file name and a line number, which is quite funny. I don't understand why this isn't one, but this is. But, you know. Grammar to parser boy. Is your language functional or OOP or both? Both. We're going to have structures, but we're also going to have first-class functions, so both are going to be possible. I know that's not the only requirement, but it kind of is. If you have first-class functions, you can definitely do functional programming. And if you have user-definable structures, then you definitely have object-oriented programming. So if you check out even my Lisp, my text editor has a Lisp, entirely Lisp-defined structures setup. So you can define structures and with members and call member functions and stuff. It's really cool. I've set it up entirely in Lisp. It's still really young. Grammar2 Parser Boy says, nice, I start to like your language. Yeah. In my opinion, there's just no reason we can't do it all, right? Because Lisp is basically just an abstract syntax tree. And I love how fluid Lisp is, where you can just redefine how the language itself works as it's running. So I want that to be a part of this language, where as it's running, you can change how it's actually parsed and compiled and used. Kind of like Pascal, how it has the different compiler modes, but just much more complicated. Why are we parsing Lext? This is in the parser. I don't think we need to do that. What else? Then in main, yep. Alrighty, we're getting there. Now assigned, found existing, and reassign. Hello? Okay, here it is. And then found existing is right here. Grammar2 Parser Boy says, my syntax tree is based on symbolic expressions. This is the reason my macro system is so powerful. That's really cool. So you basically have a Lisp-based abstract syntax tree. Do you use the recursive pair in your... I'm actually really curious. Do you use the recursive pair? Or do you use a different Lisp system? List system, not Lisp. Oh, this looks like it's actually working. Chat, I think we fixed our silliness. Can we get a lull? Because we were being so silly. Our code was terrible. It's less terrible now. I'm just gonna get rid of this code. I don't think we need to print out these, and we probably won't anytime soon. Probably won't need to exit. Where is the other printf? It's gotta be somewhere here. I thought there was an extra printf. There's still one. We'll find it. Here it is. Grammar2 Parser Boy says, I think it's different. I have only low knowledge about the Lisp internals. Alrighty, you're probably right then, because it's a very Lisp thing. Here, let's just, this is gonna get me. I gotta go show you. Where are we? Probably in types. So in my text editor, this is the Lisp I'm working on like day to day. So it's in my head. Also, I crashed ClangD by opening 2 projects, sorry. I fixed it, I closed ClangD. So atoms, an atom just refers to a node. So, right, that's all it is. It's a symbolic expression. So the internals of this Lisp, to have a list of multiple atoms, like if you know how Lisp looks, then you know this would be a list, right? But the actual atom is just a pair atom. So a pair could be written with its left side like this, and then after a dot would be its right side. And then these are just nested pairs where the right side of the pair, a pair is actually 2 atoms, confusingly enough, right? So this pair pointer here points to a pair of 2 atoms, and that's a singular atom. So if the right side continues to be more pairs, then you can have a nested, linked list effectively, right? And then at the end of the list, you have nil. So in this way, lists are implemented as recursive pairs, because an atom can be a pair and have a pair value, which is 2 atoms, which can point to another pair, etc., right? And that's kind of the biggest part of Lisp with the pair, because that's the car and coulter whole thing, right? But that's the recursive pair, and it allows for so many cool things to happen. Like you can just make each one of these a pair, and then have one mapped to A, and then have two mapped to B, and then you can go through this list and basically have a hash map or anything you want, right? I also know why car and coulter are named. Them registers in those list machines, right? Grammar says, yeah, I know. I also know why car and coulter are named. Awesome. I didn't mean to assume that you don't know. I just get to talking about Lisp and I'm so passionate about it, I forget. I could talk about it for hours. But yeah, I was wondering if you have the recursive pair exactly like Lisp did in 1958. Because that's how they actually, that was their big discovery. They're like, we can have a recursive pair in computing and we can actually store data like this. And it became this whole tree structure. That's so cool that we know and love today. Anyway, if your syntax tree is based on symbolic expressions, that's really cool. And that means that your macro system can absolutely be very powerful because the macro itself can alter the symbolic expression that is then to be evaluated and makes the return value. It's so cool. I love compilers. Also, we're getting to variable reassignment, but then we're not parsing anything else. So we get here. Why aren't we getting B integer? Grammar says there is a Twitch streamer out there who's writing a Lisp compiler for .NET. For .NET. Oh, okay, so the .NET backend could actually like be compiled into Lisp runtime instructions? So you could have like a program get compiled into a runtime set of instructions? Is that what, am I understanding that correctly? Or am I getting it backwards? In that .NET, Lisp is compiling into .NET. That would make more sense. We've been streaming over 2.5 hours, working on this compiler for our custom language we just made up. Thank you everybody so much for watching. We are still going to stream, but I'd like to do a little grammar, a little spiel, advertisement spiel. Down below, you'll see the Discord. You can go there and actually, we all get to talk to each other. We get to wave when you get here. You get announcements every time I go live, and we all have fun. Hello, awesome community. Hiya. Right? We all have so much fun. And I really recommend joining the Discord. You can make friends, be nice. It's amazing. Also down below is the donate button. If you have an extra few dollars, obviously I would really appreciate that if you would be so generous, but do not feel like you have to. Just showing up and watching is all I really want, because spending time with you is fun. We get to laugh together, have fun together. It's a great time. And then we have, okay, that's right, I'm still doing the advertising. I started to read chat. There's also the YouTube down below if you want to check out any previous VODs or anything, like when we came up with this actual syntax in the first Making a Compiler stream. You can check out all previous broadcasts on the YouTube down below and also in VODs on Twitch while they are here. Anyways, that's me advertising done. Thank you so much. And if you are liking what you're seeing and want to see more of it, be sure to follow. It helps out a lot. And we're actually very much on our way to becoming a Twitch affiliate. We're close. So if you'd hit that follow button, we'll get that much closer and you get a shout out on stream. So why not? All right, now I got to catch up. Grammar says the compiler compiles Lisp instructions to .NET intermediate bytecode. Yeah, so the .NET backend, the Lisp gets compiled into the .NET backend. That makes sense. Then we have a question from Grammar. Does your lexer ignore comments? This could be a reason why the parser parses B. It does ignore comments, so maybe we screwed something up in the comment ignoring. Thank you for that insight, Grammar. That's a great idea to look there first. If I would have money, I would donate money. Sadly, I don't have money, so... Oh, Grammar, thank you so much. Don't worry about it. Like I say all the time, if you don't have the money, don't worry about it. Keep your money. Even if you have money, but you need it, keep it for yourself. I don't want your money. If you have extra money and you feel like you're gonna spend it anyway, though, toss it my way, is all I'm saying. You got a couple quarters, you know? No, but you keep your money. If I'm only asking if people can do it, right? I don't want to take people's money that they need. This is just for entertainment. Someone made a great analogy the other day, like Netflix. You only pay for Netflix if you have time to watch Netflix and if you have the money to pay for Netflix, right? You don't pay for Netflix unless you actually watch it and you actually can afford it. So treat it kind of like a Netflix subscription, right? You can say, if I got nothing, I don't really care. I'm not giving Netflix money for no reason. Right? So don't feel bad. All I really prefer is that you show up and we get to talk to each other, because that's the best part about this, is I get to sit here and not be so alone while I program. I actually get to talk to these wonderful, lovely people in chat. Alrighty. So, token. While comment at beginning. So if it's a semicolon or a hash, then we skip to the next new line. And if it didn't work, then we're done lexing. So let's just print that out and say, didn't find new line after comment, done with lexing entirely. Implementing the 14DE instruction in my disassembler, lol. Ooh, which one is that? I don't have those remembered. Or memorized, I should say. That's awesome that you're making progress. So that didn't get printed. What else do we have? Comment found end of file or whatever. So we don't have that. Christ. Okay. Grammar to Parser Boy says, if you want, you can also join the Backling Discord. Maybe we can discuss features or you can participate. That would be sweet. Is the Discord linked on the GitHub anywhere? If it's linked on the GitHub, I'll join after the stream, okay? Eternal Wild Fox says, I am already more or less halfway. That's awesome. Eternal Wild Fox is making progress. That's so good to hear. It is linked on the website. All right, as long as it's accessible from the GitHub. If the GitHub links the website and the website links the Discord, that's fine. I just need to be able to get there, because the GitHub link I still have open in my regular browser to star and stuff. I may have already started, but I still have it open. Good Mallard asks, you have any idea what other projects you want to build after this one? Absolutely. I have ideas. Let me see if I can show you some. It's in a file with a lot of other stuff within it. So just going to hide these other things. All right. So effectively, I should be able to do this. You can see that, let me just kind of taken an AU. So this is not related, but this is my to-do list for programming. So all of this stuff, you can see that these two we did on stream so far. All of this stuff is still stuff to do. I think we're on this one right now. Yep, we're still on this one. So we're here working on this. We've done these two. What is programming? Good question, Link. So effectively, we had this idea for a Twitch-like service. Sorry about if it gets loud. We had this idea for a Twitch-like service that is basically only for programming. And we called it Codeflix at first, Vimy and Landar. But that name is taken in Australia, so we have to rename it. So I came up with Brogramming, a terrible name. Gnarly said tube coding, right? And then I had the idea of netcode, be a good name. But yeah, this is just an idea for like a streaming service. It's just an idea. I don't know if I'll ever even actually be able to do it, but it's there. I want to create a transpiler, like turn one language into another. I have all these languages that I'd like to learn that I haven't yet, that we can do on stream. I mean, I've learned them, but I haven't actually used them to create a program. So I'd like to do that. I'd like to code music. Like in Haskell, it's pretty easy with its functional programming to create audio waves, which is very cool. So all these ideas I've just had, as you can see, like within the past 2 weeks. So we're not really that, we're not at a loss for projects, because each one of these probably takes at least a week. Hey, there's the recursive pair that we talked about earlier. Fun. You can embed Lua in C. I read about that, and I kind of want to do that. There's so much we can do. It's so awesome. In any case, to answer your question, Good Mallard, I do have an idea of what projects I want to build after this one. And I'm also working on 2 long-running projects that I'm going to be working on for my whole life, most likely, which is Lenser OS and my OS and the text editor, Lite. Never thought you could program music, lol. Exactly. I've used FL Studio and like Ableton to make music, and I get the feeling like everything could be done using function calls and using kind of a functional programming style, which would be very cool. Grammar says, I am working on my compiler for 4 months. That's awesome. That's how long it took me to get the OS up and running. And then I got burnt out and started moving on to the text editor, and now I got burnt out a little bit on that, and now I started streaming, and it's going well. Speaking of, thank you everybody for watching. We're having fun. Trying to figure out why we're stopping, because we're not actually hitting any of these messages. So we're not in here, and we're not in here, which means that it's not actually the comment. I just want to do a test because I didn't. Yeah, we still don't get here. And this would return an error that would be printed. But grammar, that's really cool that you're working on the compiler for 4 months. It feels really good to have these long-running projects that slowly get better and better and better. Like the OS, I remember working on it, and I'd have to like switch between Windows and WSL and run like 4 different commands just to get it to actually update. Like, okay, I gotta rebuild the kernel. Okay, I have to move the kernel into this disk. Okay, I have to move this disk into a file. I have to move this, and then it's like, oh Christ. Now it's just I use CMake and it runs QEMU for me, and it's like all one command from native Windows, because I built a native Windows toolchain or version of GCC of the Lenser OS toolchain, which is a lot of fun. I love hacking on C compilers. In any case, we have to figure out why this is not working. So why would we stop parsing, right? So if there's not an error, we could say contents it is null terminator. Done parsing. Okay, that's confusing. Nope. Oh, haha. Does anybody see how stupid I am? Remember when we were having issues and we changed it from a forever loop into a while loop and gave a limit to it because it was having issues? So you don't use a debugger for fixing bugs. I use a debugger for fixing bugs in which the bug can be caught easily by a debugger, but it's much easier for me to catch bugs just by reading through the code and figuring out what it does. Because I'm a human, right? My brain is smarter than this computer. Hopefully. It's not faster, but it's smarter. So I'm able to actually comprehend what it's doing and hopefully comprehend what it's doing right and wrong. The debugger has no idea what's right and wrong, so you still need to bring into it an expectation of where to look, what to look for, how to look for it, and there's a lot more. A debugger requires you to have a specific problem, right? Like that lets you set a breakpoint in a specific place. Hey, we're getting closer. This is awesome. We are parsing more. But yeah, for example, like that bug here that we just fixed, because we put earlier a limit called size t max equals 2, and then we said while max, and then we minused it each time in the loop. There's no way a debugger would ever catch that, because this is programmer error. It was me trying to fix something, and I left it behind, if that makes sense. A debugger can show you the content of variables, and you don't need to write hundreds of prints. True, but isn't it easier to print something out to look at it and run the program rather than run a debugger that takes like longer to launch and you also have to learn how to use the debugger? I'm not saying they're not useful, I'm just saying for most bugs, they're actually just little cases like that. Like, oop, I made that little change earlier and then changed how semantically the code worked after, so now it's different. It's like the computer will never tell you that, right? The computer can tell you, hey, this is what this variable has. But unless you know which variable to look for and which one is wrong, it doesn't really matter, right? Because in that case, I didn't know why it wasn't working. I just knew, hey, we're not getting the full output and we should be getting something. Moralilu says Emacs GDB is kind of magic. Yeah, it is kind of magic. I would say it like that. I'm on Windows, so my experience is a little different with that. On Linux, GDB is like quality. On Windows, GDB is like horrible, right? But we could still do it. It depends how complicated your code is. That's true. Moralilu says, oh, gross, Lamal. That's right. Oh, hey, look. Look what I forgot. I'm still in the new frame. Whoops, did not mean to resize. So when I show Emacs, actually this one gets shown. Where are we? Okay, this is main.c. We can just close. Close, close. All right. We now get a compiler error, unrecognized token equals. That's an interesting one, right? Unrecognized token equals. Alrighty. We should really save like the last 8 tokens just so that we can parse, like print out a little bit of context and say like unrecognized token after about these 8 tokens. That would help us a lot, I think. In any case, I guess that would just, that's an expression stack is what I'm defining, right? That's kind of how most parsers work anyway, with an expression stack and they push. And then they use the most recent pushed value as the, yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, so how do we get here? That means we're not within this. Where did that start? Did I get that wrong? Yeah, so here. We should find some. All right. So apparently we're running into equal without hitting a colon first. Is that correct? How would that happen? So we get a variable declaration of the symbol a. That's perfect. And I'm sure int69 is stored in the variable's environment. Okay. Variable reassignment, a 420. We have a variable reassignment of the expression integer 420 to the symbol a. That looks valid to me. Grammar asks, have you ever worked with EBNF or any other language description language? I have. I've done some work with Yak and Bison, trying to do like parser generator stuff. Personally, I don't prefer it. Just because I prefer doing everything myself. I'm kind of stubborn that way. But there's nothing wrong with those. I think they're much better and easier ways to get started if you actually want to do language development. Like if you just want a new programming language, you should probably use a grammar. But if you're building something to learn or building something to actually... But yeah, if you're building something to learn or building something just for fun, I don't think you should use a EBNF or any other grammar, because I think learning how it's done and how to do it with the tools you know how to use is more important in that case. Unless you're trying to create a language, in which case that's not more important. We got a question from Good Mallard. What age did you start programming? I don't know. Young. Let's go with young. I would say after 10 years old, like end of elementary school into middle school, which is only an American thing. But like, yeah, 10 to 12 years old. And at that time, I was learning like writing little calculators on terminal calculators in C++. And like writing, what else did I write back then? I wrote like a social security number generator because I felt like a criminal and like it was cool. I'm like, ooh, I can create my own social security number. Wow. Which is like a government identification number in America. Basically, I thought programming was cool. And I was like, ooh, I can do things. He says, haha, Good Mallard. That's right, haha. Because you can't actually use the numbers that were generated. They don't refer to actual people. They're not in the database. But I felt like a hacker. I was like, oh, programming is cool. That's right. It allows you to do very cool things. It's almost like we're skipping this, right? Unrecognized token equals. So if we get equals after an unknown symbol, that has to be here, because we get a variable declaration symbol b. This works, but 42 does not ever happen. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I just want to mention a little bit of a meta comment here on the stream. We have had an average viewership, average viewer count this stream of over 5 viewers. That means that we are well on our way to Twitch affiliate, which just requires an average of 3. So I would like to thank everybody for watching this whole stream. You guys are the reason that I'm actually able to do this, and that Twitch even shows me to other people. So I really appreciate you. Everybody who's here, thank you. Ooh, and we got an awesome, wholesome message from Grammar. That's awesome. I can't wait to read it. So we have some problem. Unrecognized token reached during parsing. We know that. Grammar to Parser Boy says, my mum is the reason why I am in love with computers and programming, happy face. She had a website for her little company, and I thought, isn't it cool? She made it with a website builder. I also started to use this builder and thought it is a mess. I have that experience as well, like going to Squarespace and then going, this sucks. This is not what website development should be. And then you thought, as an awesome human being, you're like, let's learn HTML. You didn't give up because it was too hard and not what you wanted. You're like, nah, let's do this. I'm going to learn and put double the amount of hard work in. Then I come to PHP and JavaScript. Hey, I forgot about PHP earlier. I definitely know PHP as well. And Perl. Perl I don't know, but I've done some regular expressions in them. And I really loved it. Now I'm in C#. Hopefully I can switch for private projects to my own language. That would be so sweet. Write entire programs in the language you invented. Moralilu says, I have yet to see a valid reason to use anything except HTML. On the web? Or in general. I think it'd be hard to program a compiler in HTML, considering it's a markup language. I don't think HTML could be considered a programming language. It's more like Markdown or org mode. It's what is it, Tech? Yeah, Tech and LaTeX. So unrecognized token reached during syntax. So let's bring back that lex. Well, that's an odd one. So we lex A. These are top level. Then we lex 69. So this message comes from the nested recursive parse expression call. Oh, Christ. So this parse expression call, the other one, but this one caused 69 to be lexed, returned 69 as an integer, assigned A to that. A got reassigned to 420, which was lexed. Grammar says you could write a script language based on HTML syntax and bootstrap it. Then you have a HTML compiler written in HTML. But until then, HTML is not a programming language. Correct. It's not Turing complete, at least. That's a good idea, though. Have some inline scripting language for HTML that could like generate divs or something. That way you don't have to, or like generate grids easier, like grid layouts. That's a good idea. In any case, so we lex B. Why do we lex this? What? So that doesn't make sense. We lex B for this variable declaration. Then we lex colon. That doesn't make any sense, right? Because this message should only show for the top level, which means that we should see B only, much like we see A only. So it looks like we're eating too far. In the reassign, are we lexing too far in the reassign? We go one ahead. If token equals this, we set end to after end. I don't think we're lexing too much, are we? And return okay. So what if So let's just do this. We're just gonna have something terrible. More terrible printfs. So token during reassign is equals, which actually makes sense. What is end, though? I guess I need to print from a little bit different. I need to use current token like this. So wherever we parse after end, that is what we will print up to that length. Okay, so it's just after the 420. That seems fine. Oh, because then we lex B. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. I now know what's happening. See, I caught it. I caught bug. In bare hand, I caught the bug. Ooh, my phone died. So sorry, everybody. Just gotta plug that in. And check my email now. Because if they can't text me, they'll email me. They gotta yell at me somehow that I'm late, right? Perfect. Okay, we're good. Everything is good. We are good. Everybody is excited. We are good. Okay, so here's the problem. We get a symbol. It's already been lexed and everything. We do an advancement of the lexer, which if it's equals, would make sense. Or if it's colon, right? That would make sense. So if it isn't, that doesn't make sense. So we're going to have to fix that too. Basically, we need to be able to undo the state of the parser or the lexer advancing. The parser advancing the lexer is how I should say that. So this parser advancing the lexer will cause the end to be updated, but we want to be able to save end and only have it happen. So we basically need an expect, but we're not going to write that yet. To do compact the next 4 lines into expect helper. Wonderful. We'll get there. Make the parser a bit easier to read. Functionality doesn't change, so it's not important right now. We advance the lexer. We advance the lexer. But here's the problem. We advance this lexer and then say environment get symbol variable binding. And then we say expected type symbol. I don't know if that's correct. I do not think that's correct, actually. I'll go as far as to say. So, let's do a little my test. Whatever. So while parsing, we're going to have end set to like here. Right? Just going to put a little helper. End set to there. And we get the next one, it's B. So we declare this. We should now have end here. How do we do this? So effectively, also I need to really work on my debugging my error messages, because we could have spans that actually work and have much better error messages, like rich text formatting. Not rich text formatting, but rich location data. All right, so we just need after the type name. So let's think about where the type name is found for variable declarations. Looks like it's lexed right here, but then not used till down below, which is a a little confusing. But it's also needed up here for equals, for reassignment after the colon. Makes sense to me. All right, so we advance the lexer. We update end. Mr. Mugame, what's up? How's it going? I'm so glad to have you here. How are you doing? Thank you for watching, tuning in. Some more compiler parsing. He says, Mr. Mugame says, assert without message is the best error handling. That's right. That's right. Honestly, that'd be a good coding challenge. Only ever be able to close your program with asserts, and none of the asserts can have messages. So any return, like return that would actually end up closing the program, nah, can't do it. You have to assert. Like you just assert that error type is equal to error none. You assert that token length is 0. You assert, that would be so horrible. Oh god. So I just saved a buffer again. I didn't mean to save. It's whatever. So a variable declaration with no equals. We have expected type symbol. We use the type. No, we create the type here. I'm on vacation watching on a phone with hotel Wi-Fi. Oh no, Mr. Mugame. Thank you so much for tuning in during your vacation. Hope your vacation has been calming, peaceful, or chaos, if that's what you want your vacation to be. Some people are that way, like, I'm gonna get out of the house and I'm going to go crazy. This is a double lex, no? Yeah, I found it. This is a double lex. Bad, bad, bad. So, fix me, use expect helper. Once it exists. Right? Because that's literally exactly what we need. I'm so happy you can be watching, Mr. Mugame. Thank you. And thank you. Oh, we have a new follow. New follow from a lurker. Can I get a lurk in the chat? Heyo. J_Mike_P has given a follow. Thank you for the follow, J Mike P. How are you doing? If you'd like to chat, I'll shout you out as well. I love talking to all of you. I'll do a little bit of my spiel. I do want to say, down below there's a link to the Discord, and you can actually find announcements every time I go live. So if you want notifications when I go live that actually work, I recommend joining the Discord, as well as just if you want to hang out and have fun. We all talk and joke with each other, and we're all friends here. It's a lot of fun. I recommend joining the Dis. Also down below is the YouTube if you want to check out previous broadcasts. And there's the donate button. Obviously, I only ask for your money for you to donate if you have enough. I don't want your money that you need, but if you do have extra money and you are feeling extra generous, I would greatly appreciate any and all donations. I can get off of my knees now and unclasp my hands. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you watching. Mr. Mugame says, it's been great so far. I started to read the book on crafting compilers. Hey, that's awesome. That's a good book. I think I remember reading that. And it's posted for free on the internet now, right? All right, that's a little convoluted, but I think it works. We lex the next token. If it's an equal, we do things, else we reset it. Hey! We actually got to our error, our proper error. Yes! Everybody, we did it! Can I get a POG in the chat? Give me that POG. This is incredible. We did it, everybody. Ooh, Grammar asked a question that I missed. Have you read the Dragon book? Mr. Mugame says, me? No. I'm not sure what the Dragon book is. I may... Does it have to do with compilers? We're gonna look. Dragon book. Okay, it is. What is this? It's... Okay, that's the actual name of it. Oh, because of the dragon. Lamau. I actually haven't read this. Should I get this? Ooh. This looks like a sweet book. Conquering Complexity, The Knight Killing the Dragon. Thank you for exposing me to this book. I really want to read this. Who's it by? Nice. Pretty good. The second edition has directed translation, new data flow analyses, parallel computing, garbage collection, and new case studies. They didn't talk about garbage collection, but they talked about a runtime environment? What? Okay. It is a really interesting book. I believe you, because this looks very cool. I'm going to add this to here. I'm going to do one of these. We're going to take some notes. Also, it works. Baug, look, we did the whole thing. We got to our error, ID of redefined variable. And if we look at our actual program, this is an error. We should catch this as a variable redefinition. We do it. We did it. It's amazing. It's strongly recommended multiple times in the Crafting Interpreters book. Nice. I read the Crafting Interpreters book so long ago at this point. I should honestly reread it. Oh yeah, I'm taking a note. This is just going to be a... We'll have it a to-do entry under programming, and this will be compilers, Dragon book. Perfect. And then I would like this link. Dragon book Wikipedia. A very interesting looking book on compiler, all sorts of topics surrounding compilers and all compilers, parsers, lexers, and all that nonsense. Awesome, that's a good note. Thank you for that rec. I'm actually very interested in that. Awesome, so we actually, man, this is cool. We get a compiler error. We did it. Yay. It tells us what is the problem, not where, but that's probably a problem for tomorrow, unless we were going extra long on today's stream. So when we get a token, the actual span... So should each AST node store a span, a token, beginning to end, within the source? Almost like a rope does. Let me just think about this. So if we have like a program, obviously its span would be the whole thing. Ooh, program could also store its source, but we don't need to do that yet. So program could have a span of like 0 to program max or whatever, right? However long the program is. Just a placeholder term there. And then we could have like a variable declaration, which would have children, but it would have a span first of, let's say, 0 to like 17. And its first child, I don't remember which order these are in. Let's just do this. And then like this symbol could have a span of 0 to 1. Is everybody kind of getting... I think this makes sense. Because then if we actually have an error, we can use the span from the AST to print out the proper source code. No? I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. Let's just add that to the to-do in case we don't get it done today. That'd be a kind of urgent. Also, this is done. So this would be a to-do, and effectively it would be add token member to AST node structure. This would allow, or well, I don't need to say that there. This would allow for much better error messages that point to the source code that the error originates from. Sure. What else would it do? What else would it do? I think that's it. I don't think we need to use it any other way. Oh yeah. I should also think about line count or something like that. Maybe node AST holds custom structure containing token span as well as file path, if applicable, and line number, column number, etc. That's good enough for me. Oh, Eternal Wild Fox. Assembler is done. For your chip 8? I mean the disassembler. Oh, Lamau. I was going to say, like, you started that yesterday, my guy. Wow. But the disassembler, you only started that 2 or 3 days ago? It's completely done? That's sweet. So what are... You're able to disassemble an existing binary? Is that what that means? Or are you able to disassemble existing code? I guess the assembler would turn assembly into code. So you're turning native machine code back into assembly from your virtual machine native code. That's so cool. I rewritten based on the new document. What? That's so awesome. You rewrote an entire disassembler in the time that I wrote a bunch of to-do comments. Like this stream, we've just been writing to-do comments. We have not done that much work. We've gotten it working though, which I'm pretty proud of. This is sweet. ROM to assembly, yes. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so cool to hear. Also, if we're able to actually call external functions, we should absolutely make like a graphical program, like link to SDL or something. That would be sweet. That's unrelated, but just thought I'd mention that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I don't even know what words I'm saying anymore. My brain is fried. I am thinking about ending the stream soon. I think I have to go at around 1 and I have to get ready, so I'm already kind of pushing it. ROM to assembly, yes, but not all ROM are possible. Some bytes are not included in that document. There's also chip 48. Oh god. Grammar says, why not compile your code to chip 8 assembly? It would be really funny. Actually, Grammar, that is in the plans. It's funny that you say that. That's actually in the plans. It's not in the to-do. We'll add it to the to-do. But we definitely have talked about it, me and Eternal Wild Fox. As soon as he brought it up, I was like, well, I'm making a compiler. How about I compile into chip 8? But that's absolutely the plan, is to use his compiler to generate assembly and be able to have a new target. Oh, do you hear my voice going out? I definitely got to stop streaming. I'm going to kill my voice. There's also chip 48 and XO chip. So can a single emulator, like the program you're writing, the disassembler and assembler, can it handle different types of ROMs? Or would you have to write whole other programs for those? Like, is it different emulator, different instructions, different everything? Or is it just a superset? Like where chip 48 is just an extension of chip 8. Also at eternal wild fox and at grammar to parser boy. In future, my language will target WebAssembly. Maybe I add chip 8 too. That would be sweet. Eternal Wild Fox says it is a superset, I believe. Oh, that's sweet. So yeah, you'll be able to use the same program to parse or to deal with both. So Eternal Wild Fox and grammar to parser boy. Compile to chip 8 assembly. It's good enough for me. Eternal Wild Fox is working on a chip 8 virtual machine assembler, disassembler, etc. in PHP, and it would be really cool to collab no reason our compiler can't also target chip 8. Perfect. Whoops, XC. But I might write different programs to keep the structure clean. Absolutely. Because if they're not similarly handled, there's no reason to keep the programs bound. Plus, if you could eventually create a driver program, kind of how GCC works currently, where the driver could spawn all these child processes, and the driver could invoke any one of the different programs. Ayo, first time chat from a viewer. What's up, never mind who? Never underscore mind underscore who? How's it going? How are you? What brought you in? He says hello. I say hello back. Eternal says, I also found Byte Pusher. It is a single byte CPU specs. That's cool. Never mind who says, I'm good. I'm trying to understand anything. Ooh, that's an interesting goal. Not understand everything, understand anything. I like how that's worded. Eternal says, maybe I'm also going to implement that. Eternal, you are doing so much work so fast. It's incredible. Thank you so much for updating us. It's super interesting. Never mind who says, my man's coding a compiler from scratch and I can barely add a library to my project, Lamau. That's actually part of why this is from scratch. I hate libraries and linking and stuff. And if it's dynamic linking, oh my god, I don't even want to deal with it. But never mind who, I promise. If you're able to add a single library to a project, we're at similar levels. Because I don't like adding dependencies either, especially in C. I mean, it's easy to do like a read line. Like read line, you just have the actual thing. It's not a dynamic link. Well, I can't. You can't right now. You can't yet, right? You probably will be able to if you're working on it. If you know what it is. Because most people don't even know what those words are, right? They go, add a library to a project? What does that even mean? But you know what it means, so you're on your way to fully understanding it. It's pretty cool. Most people go their whole lives just never understanding like how libraries are linked in C. So the fact that you know it all is pretty cool. Plus, a compiler from scratch, when it's written this terribly, it's not really that impressive. You know what I mean? If you go take a look at the GitHub, actually, that reminds me, I should commit to commit. So, yes. We're just gonna do this all, I think. Yeah, we're just gonna do it all. And this is just going to be progress made on stream during the 8th of August, 2022. And we can say, we are finally beginning to parse variable declarations and reassignments properly. We actually now get to the error that is expected in the example program. Hooray. Hello? Cool. That's a good commit. We're gonna push it. And now that's on GitHub. Feel free to follow the link down below and check out all the code that we have written on this stream. But yeah, when it's when it's this bad of code, you don't really have to worry about not being as good as it, because look at all this. This code is literally the same as this code. There's no difference. So there's a lot of code duplication, right? And then it's also not very readable. There's a lot of to-dos. It's not really that featureful, right? It's simple code. But we're getting there. Oh, I missed new things. I'm sorry. Never mind who says, yeah, I know, but it's my first time using Visual Studio and also using C++ libraries. Kick W. Never mind who then says, other than IOStream. Well, at least now that I look at it, I understand some of the code. Yay! That's perfect. I know it's very intimidating, but this code is not readable. I just wrote it, right, for myself. But it's definitely has some weird things going on. And it's complicated code, because it's an AST, tree manipulation. So don't feel bad, right? Other than IOStream. That's true, the standard C library, they just give that one to you. It's pretty nice. Have you seen on Windows what you have to link with? Oh, they don't show it here. I don't have it in verbose mode, that's right. So to actually link with the C library on Windows, you end up linking with like 13 different libraries in a very specific order. And it's like L kernel 32, it's like, what is all this for? L user 32. Windows, am I right? In any case, so I can't make a side window the only window. That's annoying. Doesn't matter. We now officially, also I can remove this lext call. I'm gonna keep that. Perfect. So now we attempt to compile the program, and when we can't, we say, hey, there's been an error, redefinition of variable. We have an ID of redefined variable called b, and here's the program that we were able to parse so far. Pretty cool, pretty cool. This is good. So we're actually beginning to correctly parse. There's a lot of comments in this. I'm going to take the code. I'm going to go to simple. Oh, Christ, that's not simple. So I'm just taking the code from the example and actually putting it into its own file without all the comments so that we can kind of look at what it does. Yep, that's it. That's much simpler. Perfect. Almost. There we go. Look at us. So this program on the left here, in our custom language. Ooh, I missed another question. Oh, we got a follow. Heyo. Thank you so much for the follow. Never mind who. I really appreciate that. If you want notifications every time I go live, be sure to check out the Discord link down below, and I ping this entire group of people every time I go live so that they get notifications, because Twitch only shows my notifications about 50% of the time. And you can also talk to me, talk to each other, and we all get to laugh and have fun. We're all friends. But I really recommend joining the Dis. And if you like what you're watching. And thank you so much. Just use bots, Lamau, to send the streams. A bot isn't personal, my guy. I want to personally send you notifications. That's my goal. So in the announcements, I actually write these at the beginning of every stream on stream. So I actually get to kind of talk to you guys, right? And choose what to say. It doesn't just, it's not the boilerplate same thing every time, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just like that little personal touch where I can intervene. It's not just this automatic bot that annoys people and goes, every time I go live, just send everyone an announcement on this list. I want to have like, I'm talking to you, I'm sending you this personally. But I absolutely would agree that using bots is easier. It's just not my goal. Anyway, we actually do it. So this program on the left, we have a variable declaration. It is of type integer and equal to initialized to 69. We don't actually print out the environments, but that's where that is stored. So ideally, the type and stuff is correct, and it looks to be correct based on these. Then we do a reassignment. Yep, a reassignment of A. Yep, the same symbol. And with this reassignment, we want to say the value is now this expression, the result of this expression. And this expression is a result. It's self-evaluating. It's an integer. So that means that, yeah, that's working. Because when we now declare this variable, we will make space for it on the stack, let's say. And then when we reassign it, we can use this symbol to look up where we stored it on the stack. Or just use a label. I guess we could also do that if it's a global declaration like this is. But we could use this label to then get the memory address where this is stored and update those contents. Very cool. And with integers, we can just use literal values stored into registers, which is great. Then, after that reassignment, we have an integer, b, which is a variable declaration, and that is exactly what happens. And then we get a variable reassignment, because b is reassigned to 42. Oh, I am so late. Oh my god, no. I gotta go. I'm having so much fun. I never want to go. I never want to leave this stream. All of you are so much fun and so nice. It's like, why would I ever leave? You guys are the best. I gotta log in again to Twitch. Reload the page. Thank you. I gotta whisper. Oh god. That's so terrible. I just gotta whisper on Twitch that says, wanna become famous? Buy viewers, followers, and primes on your follows. I'm not gonna say the rest of the URL so people don't find it, but I'm popular enough to try and get spam. That's good. That's a good sign, right? Oh, okay, but we parse this entire program, yes, but we ran into an error. We have an ID of a redefined variable. The error is a redefinition of variable. So the ID of the redefined variable is b. So b, the variable, has been redefined. This is a terrible error message. It's in the wrong order. Good Mallard says, just buy fame. Yeah, easy. Just buy it. Done. You don't have to be talented these days. Just fucking buy that shit, bud. In any case, Good Mallard says, just buy fame. Oh, first time chat. What's up, Rohan? We have a first time chat from a new viewer. Rohan, how's it going? He says, yep, just buy it. Gnarly Quack, how's it going? If you're streaming, you'll get spam. And hi, Lenzor and chat. How's it going, Gnarly? I remember you were here yesterday. Were you here earlier? I don't remember your name today. No, we ran into Moralilu earlier. He also had a reddish name. But welcome. Welcome, Gnarly Quack. How are you doing? Is everything going well? I'm sure you're at the end. No, you're a few hours later than me. Gnarly Quack says, I've lurked for a while but haven't chatted until now. Well, it's great to see you. I'm glad you were lurking. We love lurkers around here. Oh, crap. I missed a follow. Everybody, we have a new follow. Seshemaded. What a name. Chemadt. I don't know how to read that, and I won't read it. But thank you, that person, for actually following. I really appreciate it. We got a lurker follow, so if you want, drop that lurk in the chat. So much fun. Gnarly says, oh no, Rohan says, so are you building a compiler from scratch? Absolutely. I know we're not making a lot of progress because I have to go soon, but today we are absolutely writing a compiler from scratch. We are writing it in C. There are no dependencies. Here, let me close this. There are no dependencies, just files that we have written or the C standard library. We do use that. And yeah, we're just writing it in pure C. And this compiler is starting to take shape. We are parsing expressions into a program based on a file. And that's actually what we were looking at just there. This on the right side is the actual program after it's been run. If that makes sense, the output of the compiler. So this program on the left of our unnamed custom language is we have variable declaration, variable reassignment, variable declaration, variable reassignment. That's exactly what we have. And then we have an error because we redefine the variable b. But yes, Rohan, we are building a compiler completely from scratch. Gnarly Quack says, today's going, I guess. I gotta head out for an appointment shortly. Of course it just started raining. Heh. Yeah, of course. So Gnarly Quack has to go soon. Thank you so much for watching while you did. Thank you for lurking. I really appreciate it. We like damn lurkers. Rohan says, thanks for the wrap-up. Of course. And this is all available open source on GitHub down below. Free and open source under the MIT license. Nevermind Who says, I'm back, went to grab something to eat. Awesome, so glad to see you back, just before the end of the stream. Oh, Grammar to Parser Boy says, next step, parsing binary expressions with correct precedence? Lamau. You're close. We don't give a shit about binary expressions. We give a shit about all expressions, right? So we're going to have an operator precedence happen next. But you are correct. Operator precedence is up next. First time chat. Hey, we got a first time chat. The end of the stream is bumping. It makes me not want to end it, but I really have to go. Anyway, first time chat from Chemadt, whatever his name is, Chemadt. I'm newbie in C programming and understand actually nothing, but it seems interesting. And he gives a lol, the lol emote. C programming is very interesting. It's very low level and lets you do anything you want with the hardware that is running the program that the OS allows for. Grammar says, see you next time. I will see you next time, Grammar. Thank you so much for... You were here for so much of the stream today. I really appreciate it. It is awesome that you showed up. Nevermind Who says, I fucking hate libraries. We all do. We all do, bud. That's why our CMake, it looks like this. No libraries, no linking. All we do is add the executable and we're done. Oh. Gnarly Quack says, if you don't stop the stream soon, you'll probably get raided and then be stuck here even longer. That's not the end of the world. That would be pretty awesome. Get a little follower train going during the raid. Get us up to affiliate right away. Good Mallard says, goodbye. Goodbye, Good Mallard. Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate all of you for watching. And I'll do my little spiel before the end of the stream, and then it is out. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out the Discord down below. We have a place where we can all talk to each other, have fun, and hey, look, we got someone join. Never mind who. Hello. Thank you for joining the Discord. But yeah, we have all sorts of things going on. Notifications every time I go live. We have chat with each other, chat with me. It's so much fun. And we're all friends here, so I recommend it. As well as there's a donate button down below. If you have extra money laying around and you're feeling extra generous, of course, I would really appreciate if you could donate a few dollars even, or whatever your currency may be. Any amount counts and really matters to me, so I'd greatly appreciate that. If you are a regular viewer and you don't have the money to donate, don't worry about it. All I care about is that you show up and are here, and I really love talking to you, seeing that you're watching and being entertained, so just thank you for showing up, really. That's all I would like to thank. And yeah, have a cool one. Be sure to check out the YouTube for all the VODs of every single broadcast, and you can check out how this entire compiler was actually made from the very beginning. So yeah, go check that out if that's interesting to you, and thanks for watching, everybody. I really care that all of you are here, and ooh, Rohan with the follow. We got a shout out. Rohan with the last minute follow. You're the best. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Sishamad. Thank you, Nevermind Who, J Mike P, Kronborg. Those are all follows just today. Grammar to Parser Boy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next time on this glorious programming journey. Bye-bye.